Let me see if I'm really live. If it came on yet. All right, it's on. All right. That anxiety starts immediately. Like, hold on. What's up, y'all? What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. Let me see. Oh, God, I have to stop. I really have to stop declaring this anxiety issue of mine because like it's not that deep. So I need to chill because then all I do is remind myself that I have anxiety when I come on. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I'm trying to get everything under control. So my original plan was I was like, I'm gonna go live. Um, I was like, I'm gonna do a marathon live. I'm gonna be on live from 11 a.m. Oh my god, I'm gonna see what I'm saying. Like it's just too much. Um, I was like, I'm gonna be on live from 11 a.m. I can't believe that just happened. Until like 7 p.m. I was like, yeah, I'm really gonna do this thing. And then, adulting happened and everything. So it just never kind of works out the way you plan, but it's all good because I'm still here with y'all. What is up, everybody? What is up? I mean, we already know what's up, but of course, we're gonna get to the main event and what happened today. But before we do, because I want to see if more people come on. I want to see if more people come on. So, and if you guys um want to comment, say hello, let me know you here. Hair and makeup is just like freaking annoying right now. My God, sorry y'all. Sorry. Uh, I spent all day getting ready. Just don't need to still feel not ready. Okay, um, so before everybody comes in, I'm trying to see if more people come in. Let's just talk about like regular stuff. Of course. How's everybody doing? Thank you. Thank you, Cassie, for coming through. Classic Cage coming through on the chat. Thank you. So um, let's just, ease in to everything that happened today. But I want to address my thumbnail because let me tell you something. I really enjoyed making that thumbnail. I know there is somebody out there in the universe who's gonna say, "Oh my God, she's in love with with Trump so much, and she look at her thumbnail. Oh shit, she's like praising him." No, I just had fun with it. And I think that's what's going on these days is everybody is so above everything. Everybody is so aware, so aware like I'm not falling for it. Whatever it is, right? I'm just like I'm having fun. So, I was like, of course my thumbnail was going to have Trump because Trump got arraigned today, right? So, I'm gonna have him on. I was like, but I don't want to have the picture from the day on. Even if he did take a mugshot, I wouldn't have used the mugshot. I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and use yes, Cass. Gotta have fun doing what we do. Make it fun. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not gonna use the I was like, even if he took a mugshot, I'm not gonna use the mugshot. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back in the 80s and find some pictures before he became this symbol of whatever people want him to be a symbol of. I wanted to use pictures from like what I remember, Trump, New York. First of all, Trump was New York, like I grew up here, not like we sat around and we told stories about. No, my father was a cab driver, so he got to like pick up some pretty awesome people. Trump was in his car one time. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, he actually said she was nice. It was a few times she's been behind, she's been in his cab or whatever. He used to tell us like a few people. I think he met Macho Man, Randy Savage. If I'm not mistaken, it was a few people. And so he would come home telling us the stories. I was born in Brooklyn, right? So I was born in Brooklyn and then my and then we moved to Florida. But when we lived in Brooklyn, my father was a cab driver in Manhattan, and my mom worked at the Times Square Marriott Marquis. So we were enthralled in to like the New York, in New York. Like we were enthralled into that culture. Um, My mom, she met awesome people. My aunt used to work at that Marriott too. So she met like Don King. She met Al Sharpton. It's funny because my aunt told us when we were kids, she was like, "Oh, he is so rude with that perm. He's so rude." You know, so so like I remember those days. So I remember hearing Donald Trump. I remember hearing, these names, these big names when it was big hair and big names and big New York and big lights. And so that's why I'm not using today's picture, which was really sad to see actually because his eyes were so puffy. But I was like, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna have fun. I'm me. I'm me. I've always been me. So that's what we're gonna do. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started. Before I get to the main event, there's a couple things I want to address because it's a bit much. Um, Twitter is really like, oh Jesus, like I like Twitter because I've connected with some very genuine, good people on Twitter. I have some of them I've had on this channel. Some of them I've been on their panels. Good people, but some of the posts I'm like, ugh, y'all, everybody, calm down. Just calm down. Everybody's so again so smart and above it all. Okay. And then I got to tell y'all what happened to me with a YouTuber. So we're gonna happen. If obviously I'm not gonna be doing the whole marathon live streaming because um I'll probably just be on here for like an hour and a half. It didn't all go like how I planned. Before we get to this, I did bookmark a couple things because I wanted to talk. So first, I wanted to get into this real quick about Trey Gowdy, who's absolutely losing his mind. What did he say? He's saying no. I don't want. He is control opposition, but no, it wasn't Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy it is controlled opposition for sure, but it wasn't him. Let me see, or maybe it was. Oh, it is Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy, all in for red flag gun conference. Y'all might not be able. So that's as loud as it gets. So with Trey Gowdy sucks. This is Scotty who put this up. Shout out to Scotty for sharing this. Conservatives who won't even consider something along these lines are living in a bubble. I can't understand concern about it being abused. I can understand, given who's in charge of our society, but you can't scream 2A and think swing voters will just move on. Scotty, I see what you're saying. Let me explain on the other side when it comes to this. So what Trey Gowdy was trying to, I wish I could get it louder. What he was trying to say was, if you've been deemed, um, if you've been deemed, what the heck did he say? Mentally ill. You went before a judge. You said you've been deemed mentally ill. You should not be allowed to own a gun. But that, yeah, it won't get any louder. That's the only person who had it up. Trey Gowdy tripping because that's not going to work. Because I've seen people 302 who did not need to be 302. So what if they were deemed, suicidal, and so now they can't defend themselves? Yo, it's yeah, listen, I get it, right? It's like, you know, oh, certain people shouldn't have. I get it. It's a rock, and it's sad things have fallen this far. Yes, like that. People even saying it's like you have to understand. He's saying if you're deemed mentally ill, do you know what them DSM-5s? There's a lot of DSM-5s, y'all. Anxiety would be considered. That's something that you're taking a med. You could take a med for. Everybody has some anxiety. I say this all the time. I have a little bit right now. So you know. I don't think that when you do that, you give the right to another human to say whether you're fit or not. I know the balance, but this is not where we're at with it. It will be abused. And that's just the bottom line. It absolutely will be abused. And here's the better part. The part that I bring it to. I always say this. Y'all ready? The criminal's still gonna have the gun. You know what I mean? That's the better part. Like, I don't know how much I can scream that to people. Like, imagine being living in such a comfortable lifestyle. And I'm not one of those the whole, oh, he's privileged. No, I'm just saying you're living comfortable. You don't even think about the criminal. The criminal doesn't go to the gun shop and buy a gun. They don't stand in line to register a gun before they go erasing everybody. Now here you are, you done had a week, a month where everything you can think of has happened to you, and you have a mental breakdown. Because it's been too much. People probably died. You lost your job. Everything all at the same time. You're about to be homeless, and now you find yourself at somebody's facility getting the help that you need, but you've been deemed mentally, incapable, right? And so, you know, now you have to, and then now your right is gone. Maybe you get better. Maybe it was just a crisis. There's something called situational crisis. So maybe it was a situational crisis. The general public are treated like the criminals because they follow the rules. Yeah, like I mean, the only exactly when they like we're gonna come up with this law, that law. That girl was gonna do what she was going to do, even if she had to drive a car into the school. Y'all might have forgot this story from back in the day. Nah, but the lady, she did have a gun though. She did have a gun. But Valerie Bertinelli played this story. It was this lady from the 80s. She was like, now she really wasn't, she was insane. She was like, her house was a mess. She had raw meat everywhere. The husband kept trying to tell people, like, she's got a gun. She's gonna kill people. This movie really was to promote gun control, but it still was a really good movie. It was sad, and she ended up like making all these like Rice Krispie treats and stuff like that, and then she poisoned them, and she took them around to people's houses or whatever, dropped them off like, hey, I made y'all some cookies or whatever. Thank God nobody did eat them and got hurt. But then she took her gun with her too inside of school, and she just started shooting a bunch of kids because she was crazy, you know. She should have been 302 for if anything. And to be honest though, when you get 302, they do take away your gun. They do. They already do it. They do it here in Pennsylvania. Um, and so that was the thing. But what I'm saying is, if people want to hurt someone, and even if they don't have let's say they just wiped away all the guns, you don't think that they're going to use a car, a bat, a chair? What is an assault weapon? We have to ban all assault weapons. I'm like, well, you have to ban all material. Like, it's so broad. It's so broad. You can assault somebody with anything. For real, for real. Yeah, I'm very technical with words as a nurse. So, it's just like, it's just really, that's the point. But again, I say the same thing. You're going to put down a bunch of laws for the law abiding citizen, but they're not, that criminal is still going to have 50 pieces in the house. And then what are you going to do while you were following the law? What are you going to do? Because there's going to be a time, even myself, like, God is good, God is still in control. But with everything going on in the world, with the economic collapse, all kinds of things, people are going to get very, very hysterical. They're going to get desperate. You don't know what they're going to do next. And trust me, they'll be able to have the weapon. How does it work? You know? So I'm going to need tired of people who know nothing in positions of power trying to limit my choices. Actually, absolutely. I'm gonna need Trey to, I'm gonna need Trey to sit that one out. I'm gonna need him to either come to the streets of, I'm saying, Philly or Brooklyn or something, and then or sit that one out. You know, like, okay. But Trey don't know the next time he might have a mental health, and I don't wish that on him. I don't. People have to think before they talk. Listen, a bad thing definitely did happen. We need to be, but again, society is telling these people, you legislators, they're telling these people, you're perfectly normal, you're fine, even though your mind is disassociating from, you're having a fracture in the brain somewhere, where you're seeing something in the mirror, but your mind is not recognizing it, right? So maybe we should talk about this. Well, how did we get here? Was there a trigger? Were you sexually assaulted? You ask questions, but instead, you're fine. You're perfectly fine. You're perfectly normal, and people want to kill you. Now go ahead and take the hormone roids and do what you have to do. Okay. So, okay. And then even that situation, it's just been so much with Twitter, but people are so like, oh, the right, all they talk about is trans. All they talk about is trans. Listen, I get it, right? I don't want to see Dylan Mulvaney in my face all the time. I don't want to see a bunch of transvestites on my screen. I don't want to see a bunch of men in drag. I don't want to see it. I'm not really so focused on Dylan Mulvaney. Like on this channel, I haven't made a video about him yet, but I might feature him in another video that I made before that I still didn't edit about why a lot of these kids are turning to this behavior. But I use it for resources and like an encyclopedia. Like even with the I Am Jazz show, it's like there's so much going on in there psychologically that we could talk about, right? But my issue isn't even with that person; it's with the legislators. I'm not gonna, it's the legislators who are writing laws who are saying biological men can wrestle women, and then my issues with the woman who sits there and lets her ass get beat by the man, but whatever. But that's my issue is the laws, when they're saying we have sanctuary states where you can kidnap a kid, basically, like if you're in a divorce with your husband and then you take your daughter all the way to Vermont, and then you can do whatever to that child, mutilate that child, and that father can't go save that child. That's where my problems are. So that's what I focus on when I talk about this thing with people. People been doing crazy stuff, right? People been tripping, right? But you'll hear people say the right is just trying to get you to focus on. So we've segued into the trans, right? So the right is just trying to get you to focus on trans. That's all they want to talk about. Like the right loves the trans, they love the trans. Listen, I can't answer for everybody else, but the legislation is happening. It is happening where they are going to be in your living room. How many? So how bad does it have to get before we could talk about it? Right? I never give Matt Walsh. You'll never hear me say anything as far as Matt Walsh's plight on with this trans issue with the children. He has every right to say whatever he wants to say, because you know what else he does? He goes to school board meetings, he goes to council meetings and everything, and then he makes his piece known. He tries to stop certain legislations. He's actually putting action into words, just like Josh Slocum, the Disaffected podcast. I have to have Josh on this channel. Josh Slocum, the Disaffected. Let's go look at his page so I can present this to y'all. He's doing big, like he's been bringing the awareness to the nonsense that's happening in Vermont. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. Y'all know me, I keep talking. So yeah, here it is. This is the Disaffected Pod. Check them out. Let's put a little bit on.
Recall, we political ponerology, edited by Harrison Cayley, who's been on the show before, and I highly recommend that you check out Harrison Cayley's Substack. He's all on this.
The Josh also talks about, he started his channel on the basis of like the cluster B disorders, and this trans situation is cluster B manifested in like full, I mean, just the full the full line of cluster B. Like it just is, and he'll explain it. We'll listen to him for like 2 minutes.
His last name is spelled Koehli. Kevin and I started this show in January of 2021 with a thesis behind it. As in the home, so in society. The underlying theme of this show is that we are now, all of us, you listening to me, us here in the studio, we are all living in a scaled up societal version of my mother's deranged home that I grew up in. For those of you who are new to the show, my mother has borderline and narcissistic personality disorders. We are in an autocracy right now run by people with cluster B personality disorders. I'm going to give a reminder to everybody of what those are, and I'll introduce that to people who are new to this episode. I'm going to give a blanket disclaimer here at the top of the show so that I don't have to give any more caveats during the rest of the show. As always, I have opinions and views and guesses about the people that we're going to be talking about. They are my opinions, they are my views, and they are my guesses. They are not actual medical psychiatric diagnoses. I'm pre defending here because of the don't diagnose screech that we hear from people anytime somebody notices that someone appears to be an actual psychopath or an emotionally unstable borderline. It is not possible for anyone who's not actually a doctor sitting in the room with such a person to, quote, diagnose them. I can, you can, anyone can say that person is a psychopath. I think that person is a borderline. That's not diagnosis. It's not. It's not being entered into their medical chart. It has no effect on them.
He has to make that point because people have tried to come at him like, "Oh, you're diagnosing." No, we're not going to play around with words. We're assessing. We're seeing things. Everybody, come on. Blue is blue. Red is red. You can have an opinion on something, and he's not giving anybody a DSM-5, but he's saying what he sees. All of that is speech control too. Like, oh, you can't say that because then you're diagnosing. He's not writing it in a chart. He could say whatever.
So these are my views. These are my opinions. That's all the disclaimers that we're getting. We are living in a world even more like a version of my childhood home than we were 2 years ago when we started this show. We're living in a world of complete and total
one more
reversal
minute
of the truth. Dark is light. Bitter is sweet. Men are women. Children are free sexual agents. Facts are oppression. Words are violence. Disagreement is literal genocide. That's the world we live in right now.
So true.
All while the transgender community physically beats and murders normal people, sane people. Yes, normal people. These transgender activists, they are not normal. They're not sane. And it's time that we said it. If you don't start saying it really soon, you're not going to be able to because you're going to be 6 feet under. You think I exaggerate? Get your popcorn. We've got an entire show full of it for you. Everything happened this week. Everything.
He ain't lying.
We have reached a cultural turning point. Something turned this week. Mark this in your calendars. This is history that we're living in right now.
Why I love Josh's show. First of all, like his whole demeanor, his presence, his enunciation, his words, there's no straightforward, and he's able to explain things. He's able to describe things in a calm and rational manner. So it doesn't come across like he's being fanatical. Then he backs it up with the facts. And he's right. And he's doing the legwork too, because in Vermont, they're trying to make, like I said, it's a sanctuary place where they're mutilating kids. And so he's not sitting there just talking about it. He's going to council meetings and everything. And he's been attacked, as far as they're saying that because he put stickers, him and of course his crew, there's good people there. And they have a sticker campaign saying that you weren't born in the wrong body. And they said that that's domestic terrorism and that he should go to jail, And this is like they're like mayor, like, their quote leaders, they're politicians that are focusing the direction on Josh and his crew for telling the truth, but not the people who are castrating children, right? And this is why I say we should be in office. That's what it was intended for. We the people. We should be in our, running for school districts, council people, whatever we can get in. It was intended for we, the common sense people. And let me tell you something, the radical left, I hate using those terms because it sounds like the same terms who have used them so much, it sounds numbing. But the radical left, or whatever you want, the Marxist, they're running for office. They know how to galvanize the crew to vote for them, right? And then they get in and they write the legislations that will control your life. This is why we talk about these things. For me, anyway, it's not just posting drag stuff. No, I'm bringing awareness to it. Some of my episodes to show you how Antonio Gramsci's wet dream of Marxism and all throughout the culture is it's here. It's here. And we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. So I mean I think Josh is amazing. Not I think Josh is amazing. Josh is amazing. Like he is. He knows he's just so good. He's really good. So sorry y'all. Hold on. He's just awesome. He is. And anybody who's trying to put in the work is awesome. You know, I mean myself, I did try to run for Senate. You know, it didn't work out. I didn't get on the ballot. I mean, it was my first time. I never did anything like this before. I didn't know where to go to find some information. But I still like I'm once I'm looking to see what else I could run for. Maybe not Senate, maybe something smaller, whatever, because we need more rational people in the government. The government's not going anywhere. It's not. It's not going anywhere. And then you hear people, this might be a rant episode. Like, you hear people like, oh, well, we need a third party. Well, then make the third party. Where are the libertarians? I feel like they're chilling. Where are they? Right. But until then, we have the two parties. So you pick one and represent it to your best. That's all I'm saying. Like, the, when you sit in, so we're segueing now into a little bit of politics, right? When you sit in this fantasy of we need to have a third party, listen, this is America. You have a right to say we need to have 17 parties, okay? But until I see somebody coming together about it, then I'm not trying to hear none of that. To me, then we just have two parties, right? We'll sit here in this fantasy and never get anything done. By the way, guess who? The left, they actually are working on a third party, though. There you go again. The social the Workers' Party, that's a socialist party. They want some of your money. I don't want nobody to have my money. Not the money that I worked for. I mean, taxes is one thing, but I'm not sharing this equity stuff. I'm not sharing. I'm getting to a point. The point that I'm making is we always complain about the politicians. I have complaints about them too. That's why I want to be inside. That's why I want to be inside to show a change, a difference. And the difference with me and them is I'm not going to answer to myself. I would answer to God first. And when I say that, that means something. Somebody goes, oh, church and state. No, 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 no. If I answer to myself first, right, then that's already corruption. That means that I don't care about none of y'all. I'm just going to make corrupt deals. If I answer to you first, right, I know how that sounds, right? Then I'm going to start pandering. I'm not going to be myself, right? Because I have to make sure everybody likes me, their votes. So I'll lie, I'll cheat. I'll lie and I'll cheat. But if my integrity comes to, where I have to look at and stand before the Most High, and I say, this is me, you know, that means that's different. That's a deity. That's God, you know? So that's what I mean about that when I'm saying like we need to, I have more to say, but I got traditions. I just looked up. I got traditions. I'm about to add them to the stream, y'all. I have a friend for the stream. It's not just gonna be me just talking the whole time. So are you ready? Traditions? You're gonna give me a thumbs up. You ready? Nah, you not ready yet? Or let me know when you're ready. So then I guess then 10 minutes. All right, 5:30 then for sure. Be ready by 5:30 because that's when I'm gonna put you on. All right. So yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So um, let me see. So now, and we are gonna get to the main event, but I just want to address the situation that happened to me earlier with a YouTuber, and it was anomaly. It's always an anomaly, right? But because I had made that video, my hair is really getting on my nerves, y'all. I'm sorry. I know. This is so like we just don't even have a production team right there. So, but Anomaly, shout out to Anomaly. I always say that. Hey, listen, he has a huge platform. Shout out to him. So he can do whatever he wants with his platform. But sadly, his messaging has been very lackluster. I'm just keeping it real. It has been. But I was listening to his messaging, and it's the usual. especially with this Trump arrest, right? So here's what people do. The goalpost always gets moved. They started off with Trump is lying, he's not going to be arrested, even though it was the news who put out that message in the first place. But then when he does get arrested, oh, Trump is just doing this for attention and he's raising money off of it. He is raising money off of it. He absolutely is raising money off of it. He's grifting, but it's happening to him. It is happening, right? But I'm a grift too. But you'd be stupid not to raise money off. Man, please. There's people who support him. They have the money. They want to give it. Let them give it, right? You see, I got the ticker tape on the thing going off, right? If you can, hey, I appreciate it. If you can't, that's fine too, right? Okay. So anyway, so he's going off on the channel. And the thing is, like, when I see him, his message is so good. It's alternative. It's like, it's good. I support what he's doing. He has this new news site that I think it's not Dream Rare, it's Newsrare or something. It's Stream Rare. I think that's what he's calling it, Stream Rare. Where it's gonna be his news channel or whatever, and where he's reporting the facts. And I think that's great. And listen, I think that's amazing. Your accomplishments are amazing. But when I'm listening to you and you're constantly talking about um and you're constantly talking, vaccine salesman, vaccine salesman. I'm not even gonna get into the whole vaccine salesman thing because I made a video about it. If y'all want to watch it, check it out. It's like it says SVB collapse, something, blame Trump or something, right? Listen, but the only thing I'm gonna say is this: vaccines have been here before Donald Trump. So I'm just gonna say that. But it goes into this whole thing, he's, oh, if you wanna do this for Trump, if you don't, whatever, that's on you. But I'm not doing all this anymore. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on whatever. And no, and they're all the same. They're all the same. I mean, yeah, I'll vote for him, but they're all the same. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, this message is just like to me, I'm like, yo, dog, like it just sounds so depressing. I was like, oh my God, like I just feel like now I just don't even feel like doing anything. And maybe he doesn't realize it's coming across like that, or maybe he doesn't care. Listen, it's his channel, it's not mine. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, right? But here's the thing: you have 600 and something people watching you, and you're like, my thing is this: if you don't want to talk about Donald Trump and his arrest, don't talk about it. You don't have to. You don't have to, right? You don't have to talk about it. But please don't complain about it. Don't, oh, he's part of the establishment. He's all this. Just move on. Oh, this is what we're distracted with. I hate when people say that too. You're distracted with Trump and there's other stuff going on. Why can't we multitask as a country? On my channel, I talk about everything. Everything. The stuff that people catching up with today. Anyway, so I'm like, so I sent them a super chat because again, I support content creators. I do believe in independent content creators. I do. Because even though, the difference between us independent content creators and like the mainstream, hey, Jambalaya Talks, oh my God, we have balance and nuance, but honest always. And yes, we can multitask. What's up, Morgan? What's up, KY Pooh? Gold and silver as a tender. What? NV follows. That's good. That's good to know because the times are coming. The times are coming. So my thing is this, right? So like, independent content creators is different with us and mainstream people, corporate or whatever. We're not polished, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing. So a lot of times I feel like y'all should get the real us. And maybe we have something going on and we can't quite focus or whatever, or maybe we're just mad about something. So you get the real us. So because he feels a certain way, I'm not gonna say like, oh man, he gotta go. No, 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 no. He's in this moment in his time in his life right now, and he has every right to feel like that. I just, feel like the message could be said better, but I can't tell him how to talk on his channel. And again, at the end of the day, I'll support him before CNN. That's a fact, because he's still going to talk about bricks. He put me on to some weather machine that was made in the 70s. So yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, right? But like I said, we're more raw, It's fine. So sometimes there's a little bit of drama with us. That's fine, right? Okay. All right, tradition. I'm about to but yeah, so I sent them a super chat. And yes, I was grifting a little bit. I don't care because I have to market myself, okay? So I put on the super chat. I was like, I was like, I'm saying I support all you do. I'm not gonna come at you like a certain way. It's your channel. As like, I support what you do. You know what I mean? I listen, I hear you. You're saying fool me once and everything. I understand you don't want to be fooled. It's okay. I just think the message could be a little different. And look, I would love to have you on my channel when I go live tonight. And he was like, I mean, wow, that's a good way to self promote. And you could have just said what you had to say on the comment. And you just telling people that you going live. I mean, I'm gonna be too busy. And then I was like, dang. I was like, oh no, but I already knew, so I sent another one. See, the thing, I don't mind. It's an investment. It still is for me. I know what I'm doing. So yeah, of course, yes. So I sent him another one, and I was before he started going off. I was like, you'll probably be busy, but maybe catch it, whatever. But at the end of the day, um, I was like, at the end of the day, I'm gonna, I was like, I still support what you do, even if we don't sound the same. And then he calmed down a little bit. He's like, I mean, yeah, like, I'm not, I am going to be busy. So he did. He was, he calmed down a bit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, of course I did. Yeah. Part of it was grifting, but also my grift comes with foundation. I have to grift. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I needed. I hear my fellow that girl. He said it was a good tactic. I just swapped from the replay to take a listen. Thank you. Yeah, because like, look, I gotta market myself, right? YouTube is suppressing anybody who has two brain cells to rub together out here. So what am I gonna do? Sometimes I do that, and I have to start doing things differently so people can come to this channel. But there's a foundation behind the grift. That's what I'm saying. Marketing is grifting. It simply is what it is. I'm going to do what I have to do. At the end of the day, though, to even speak about the whole, alignment going off on his channel, my thing is this. It's not about, oh, we have to go and protest for Donald Trump. I say that all the time on his channel. It's not about for Donald Trump. It's about, yo, they're drawing lines in the sand and showing you. They're not going to come arrest me tomorrow. I mean, eventually they will, right? But they're showing you, you like this guy, right? He represents something for you, right? We're going to scrutinize him. And I'm going to get into how long I've talked about it. They've been doing this for so long that if I see a pattern, I'm not going to keep saying that he's in on it. Especially with those puffy eyes I saw. I was like, dang, this guy been going through it. He wasn't looking like that the other day. But I'm going to get into what he really represents, though. Let me see. You ready, Tradition? Thumbs up. All right. Bringing in my boy, Tradition.
Finally.
He says it finally. Like, why you say I know, right? It's been a minute since
I sat in the green room. I had to go to the bathroom. I took a phone call.
I had looked, I saw you, and then like you stepped off. I mean, I did say 5:30.
Yeah, I had to go to the bathroom.
Sorry. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, I'm doing the cleanse and detox right now. That's why I ran to the bathroom. So it's part of that stage of
a
lot of nausea, a lot of bathroom trips. I'm glad I work from home. That's all I got to say.
So Traditions lives a lifestyle that I aspire to live. It's like he works from home. He drinks, he does detoxes. You should see his, like, what should we have in the mason jar or whatever with like the good water or whatever. Like, you know what I mean?
I got my water here now. I'm drinking, so I got this little jug. But
yeah. No, that's what's up. That's what's up. Detox. I know a lot of people doing that. It's actually the season for. Thank you, Jambalaya. Thank you. It's actually the season for detoxing and transitioning or whatever. Like I've been reading that like everywhere. Like, I've been kind of going towards what is the word? Not going towards. Help me. When you're
gravitating towards?
Yes, gravitating. I'm telling you, it's the anxiety, yo. Because if I was just talking to my friends, I wouldn't have did that. Like I do. As soon as the camera comes on, my vocab is like go down a notch.
Same way, yeah. I did before I started the show and started a video on it. I just forget words.
Yeah, I hate that. As soon as I hit recorder or like, but yeah, I've been gravitating towards certain verses and everything. This is a season of transition and growth. So that's what's up. It's good to hear that you're doing that detox. So, and thank you for joining me because like I was saying that I'm gonna get into the main event. You remember like my plan was to be on here like since 11 a.m. up until like 6
Yeah, I was going on YouTube, hitting refresh. Like I know this girl says she's gonna be on 11 o'clock. And every time I hit refresh, I'm like, oh my God.
I'm like, because I was trying to get everything together. I was like, Case, it's not happening. Like it's not happening. Just get on at some point. Because I wanted to be like watching it live and everything and having my commentary, but
yeah, I saw who did that I just seen? Middle Maga, Osiris, he did that.
Okay.
He was live doing the whole thing.
Where he be live on? He be live on what? Rumble?
He's live on everything. Rumble, Twitter, Instagram. I'm not Instagram. I mean, YouTube. He does like a multi stream for all 3 different platforms at the same time. Yeah.
And that's crazy because I've never seen him like on YouTube. He's never been recommended to me on YouTube. He's like massively suppressed.
Oh yeah, because he got like 53,000 subscribers.
Yes,
videos get like 300 views.
Man, I can't stand this. It's just nutty. Like that's ignorant, right? Like if you have all these subscribers, but then you're getting 300, you see what I'm saying? So it's like you got to do what you got to do, though. But shout out to him because he goes to all. He's like, I'm gonna stream it all everywhere. I'm gonna get the message out, and that's good.
Yeah, that's why I started doing. I have like a newsletter. So my newsletter, you go to my website and you put your email in, then I'll let you know when I drop content because I'm not trying to fight this algorithm. Clearly, it's rigged.
Right.
And so, I could drop a video, I get like 60 views. I'm like, okay, 60. I drop another video, I get like 2,000. Like I don't know how it works. So it's whatever. So I'd rather just push out the stuff. And also membership. So people who are members of the channel, they get like I guess alerts and stuff like that too.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. So also put your stuff on the chat. And I'll put it in the description.
Okay.
For your channel and everything. I'll put in the description when we're done and everything. But put it on the chat too. Check out Broken Traditions. Broken Traditions you should tell people about your channel, right? But I always love when you said, I want to be a mirror to the Black culture. I'm like, man, that's so deep. But let people know a little bit more about your channel.
Yeah. So like you said already, I want to be a mirror to the Black culture. Sometimes the Black culture is very debauchery and disgusting. And it's hard to get with it. I'm like, come on, y'all can't be serious doing this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And also too, I'm starting to realize too, like I'm into Black empowerment, but I'm also like a populist. So I'm like somebody who realized like there's an elitist group out there that's kind of undermining everything what everybody's doing and trying to take control of everything. And I think there's like a uni party, I guess, or like one party between the Republicans and Democrats. So to me, they washing each other's hands with everything. So I just want to separate from that and be more of a populist and just be more like, all right, because everybody's going through the same thing. That's why I'm in Black empowerment, but I'm also a populist. I'm not sure how that really coincide with each other.
It does coincide with each other.
Because sometimes I see a problem, like I see white people going through something. I'm like, damn, we going through this too. Yeah. If I say a white person's going through it, am I a sellout? Or it's like, I don't know. That's where the game is going. So I guess I have to wear that moniker, that hat of being a populist, then being Black empowerment, because I'm into Black empowerment as well, but also a populist. And I gotta say one more thing before I go forward. I have to wear my Atlanta hat because today is 404 day. So April 4th is always 404 day. So that's Atlanta's area code. So shout out to Atlanta.
Yo, they hype in Atlanta. We don't even do that in Philly. We don't even remember no February 15th. It's like my Atlanta's 404 day. What, they got festivals in Atlanta for 404?
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
Let me find out.
Go on out there. I have to open up another window to put my stuff in your chat. I can't do it through StreamYard. I can't go in the chat. That's weird.
Did I not open it to you or something? Like, because you probably
it says private chat. It says comments, but as far as me saying anything, I can say only something to you. I can't say nothing to no one in the chat.
Oh,
I open the window up
yeah. I
on.
don't know. See, I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I mean, not to be like you.
It'll give you a like, so that's the least I could do, right?
Appreciate it. I do appreciate that. They said they had 404 days. Listen, what you said was very important. I don't want to get off of it. What you just said was real. Yep. Jambalaya Talk says nope, not a sellout. When you said that you're a populist too, but you believe in black empowerment, they do coincide. They do.
Mm-hmm.
You just doing it in a common sense fashion, right? You're
Right.
not you're not a sellout, but I know the feeling that you having because in 2020 when I realized like, and for me, there was like a thing that I was getting ready to do was to go vote for Donald Trump. For me, it was like, and I keep it real on my channel. I sat there and I'm like, I'm about to go vote for the whitest white man, right? Like, like because like they have been telling me for 4 years that he was nothing but a racist.
Yeah.
And so, but of course, once you peel back the headlines and you start reading stuff, and then you're getting back real facts, and then you sit there and you almost get dizzy, like, yo, am I really about to do this? But the facts fall where they fall. That's why I said make an inconvenient truth great again, because it's inconvenient at that moment to hear it, but it's just simply where it's falling. Now, but I'm also the type, like when I said I was going to do that, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go behind the curtain and vote for him. I was like, nah, I'm gonna put it on Facebook, like I'm voting for this man. I don't care what y'all have to say, and I have the facts to back up why I'm doing it. Of course, I had gotten backlash, but
Yeah.
that's the point. Black empowerment, right? What that means is, to me, getting knowledge to black people, real knowledge, not this mainstream debauchery culture that they keep selling to black folk. Twerk, 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 rely on the government, that type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and erase each other. And white supremacist is around the corner, so be afraid of him, when that's simply just not a fact, right?
Yeah.
You believe in, I would imagine, is telling people the truth about themselves. Like, first of all, this culture is looking terrible. And also, there's other things going on out here. Y'all need to know and have some self accountability.
Yeah.
And let's keep it real. A lot of black folks don't want to have that. They
No.
don't.
No.
So yeah, so sometimes I say things. Oh, you're just saying. I get on Twitter. The white man's still not gonna love you just because you said. I'm like, I'm like, so, and then I tell them, I'm like, first of all, y'all obsessed with white people. Like, y'all love white people because
Man,
they always bring it to that.
listen, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do for my next live stream for tomorrow. I still don't know what it is. I really think that I don't know if it's gonna be my live stream or it's gonna be my podcast, but white people are living so rent free in so many black people's heads.
Yes,
It makes no sense.
absolutely. Please find a great title. Do it for something. Please make that episode. Okay.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. So like I remember this when it clicked in my head. I was with my ex and we was walking down like I guess a rampway, and there was some white people walking towards us, and she had like this thing in her head, and she kind of got triggered because the white people moved to the side so we could walk by, and she was like, "Oh, see how they just moved to the side?" I'm like, they're not thinking about you. They're just thinking about getting by or you getting by. And she kind of thought that in her head, like she was like, "Yeah, you're right. Like, why am I thinking like that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Why are you thinking like that?" But it's because we are trained and triggered to think like that. It's like, all right, you got to be, I guess, hypersensitive to whatever white people do.
Yes.
Very hypersensitive. Yeah.
You're right. And don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, there's no racism. I'm not,
Oh, no.
whatever, right? There's
Yeah.
discrimination, but it's not to the level. It is with the way the media perpetrates it. They're putting it on life support, man. Thomas Sowell said that. He was like, racism is real, but it's on life support because they try to find little things and then they be like, oh, this happened or that happened or whatever, right? But that's the thing. You're right. And as soon as you pull away from this parallel thinking of, oh, the white man didn't hold the door for me. It's like, it's freeing because you're like, yo, whoa, like
Yeah.
it's not that serious. Like, who cares?
I give you an example the other day, right? Watching the LSU versus Iowa game. I'm at the cigar lounge, we're chilling. There's this guy in there. He was mad. He was like, those damn colonizers. We talking about we talking about college students playing basketball, and you just calling them colonizers. I'm like, it's not that deep. It's just people playing basketball, a winner and a loser. And he's like, he's so mad that I guess Iowa beat um what is it called? South
LSU.
Carolina. Yeah,
Oh,
South
South
Carolina. He was so mad they beat them to go to the championship. He's like, I can't believe those colonizers went to the championship. I'm like, it's a sport. It's a
Carolina.
sport where these kids don't get paid for unless it's an NIL deal. 9 times out of 10, they don't get paid for this. They
Right.
just go in there to get a free education, and you mad
Right.
that these white girls playing against black girls. And he was so ecstatic when the black girls won. I'm like, dog, you got a lot of issues.
Yeah, made like right.
And
Like
another thing, I don't know if you saw the video I did earlier, like last week, where CNN came out with saying that
yeah.
white people can't use black gifts because
Yep.
it's digital blackface.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you saw what's my man name?
Dodson.
Hide your kids,
Yeah.
hide your wife. He
And
came out and said, the white people treat me good. I'm like, oh man, you know that's gonna hurt somebody's feelings.
Oh, right. Because yeah, I didn't get to see the video, but I saw you made it. I was gonna make that video. Of course, I didn't get around to it, but I was so happy when he said. I was shocked too that they even put it out that he said that. But he's like and because you know why though, traditions, he comes from a time it wasn't always like this, right? Like when I remember when Hide Your Kids and Hide Your Wife came out, they performed it on BET, and it was him and some like white boys, and they were like, hide your kids, hide your you know what I mean? Like, and we all was like, oh, okay. None of us was like, oh my gosh, they're just exploiting him, he's black and they trying to steal his money and da da da. No. But he knew, he was like, yeah, they put me on. They made the beat to the thing, you know what I mean? And then like I'm performing it. And so he's looking at people like, he's probably looking at them like, shut up with that, because I still make money off of this. And then here y'all come. Like, and that's what I mean.
It's just manufactured racism. It's more manufactured racism. They got to keep finding racism to fuel the racism. I guess. What is it? See, you lose words when you go live.
I know, right? Like
the furnace. All right, you got to put the racism coals into the racism furnace, so you keep fueling it. That's what it is.
It's really what it is. Yeah, right. But at least we're candid, y'all. But nah, it's true, and then it's so true. And then but what I need white people to do though is not to get caught up in certain things. And what I'm saying is like, all right, that the LSU thing. I'm glad you brought it up because I was gonna bring it up. Okay. The girl, she did the thing like this, right? Mm-hmm. And then everybody, the minute I saw it, I was like, okay, she's a little sassy, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, right? I didn't even know the full story yet. And somebody was like, she would have never did that to a black girl. But shout out to my homie Michael Kane on Twitter. He was like, it's not that serious. Like, he's a white guy. He's like, that's how these players are. And the lady was like, nah, she wouldn't have did that to a black girl. And then I came, I was like, no, trust me, she would have did that to me. I know these girls, she'd have did that to me in school. Like, what do you mean? So, but then you hear the full story and it's like the other girl did it to her too. And then the other girl didn't even see her do that. It's really the media trying to play this whole thing. Yeah. But Steve Portnoy from who's like a kook. Yeah, he's a kook anyway, because he a nut, because people always try to equate him to like being, I guess conservative or something. Like, he's not. Okay, this man wants gun control. Okay, so he's not. Yeah. But conservatives always get hyped when a person says one good thing, and then it's, oh, we like him. Like, no, he's an infiltrate as far as I'm concerned. It ain't. But he called her a effing piece of ish or something like that. Yeah, like it's extra. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, why is this even a discussion? They're kids being kids. Yeah. Not everything needs to be a headline. Don't give that. So as I'm saying, I don't want white people to give that everything's theme. But there is something happening. Like I said on my channel, the legislation. And when you hear we need less white pilots, I have an absolute problem with that, because, and I've shown the evidence that they write laws like this. They're saying this, we need less white pilots. That's a problem, because number one, take out white and put black. We know we'd be up in arms. That's number one. Number two, I need you to hire the person who knows how to, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Make the plane go. Like, I don't care about none of that. I don't care if all the pilots have to be white. If that's what it ends up being, it simply is what it is. I need the planes to stay up in the sky. And people will say, oh, what you think black there's, the black pilots can't fly no, you don't get it. They're just trying to check a box off. Now it becomes that they're not looking for the best person, regardless of race, or they'll say we need more gay pilots. And why does it matter who's sleeping with who? what are we doing here? You know, so all this stuff
Yeah.
happened. It's just crazy. But
But I want to go back on that LSU game or whatever, the LSU situation with was it Caitlin? I can always say Caitlin Jenner in my head because that's the most famous. Caitlin
yeah,
Clark. Man, the women's basketball, they should take advantage of this situation, but they not, because Shorty came out and spoke about it, but they should definitely take advantage of it because every sport needs a villain, and she
uh-huh.
became that villain. Like, she this sassy hot dog white girl putting up more points. I think she broke the NCAA record for the most
Mm,
points in the NCAA tournament, men or women.
mhm,
She put the most points up, so she broke the record for both genders. Um, she got another year, so she already building up a fan base, and she also building up people hating her. So it's like, all right, you
mhm,
got both sides of the coin, and once she take the vilified and to take the, I guess, being a hero to the WNBA, so many people will follow her, and that will help the
mhm.
ratings. And also,
Yeah,
Angel Reese, they can have like a little rivalry going. That would be so hot to have a rivalry going,
right.
take it to the league. Similar, not to say in the same level, but similar to the same thing as Magic and Larry Bird when they took it to the league, because the NBA was failing before Magic and Larry,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it was like games on tape delay and everybody's on cocaine, nobody's watching the NBA. Now you got the WNBA, a league who literally never made a dollar. They
Yeah.
never made a dollar. They have to figure something out, and they could have used Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, what's the other girl, Alexis Morris, all these girls to go against each other, to have a little competition, some type
Right.
of feud, and take it to their league, get all this kind of money. Like, how y'all not going to take advantage of this?
Yeah.
Boxing all the time. Floyd Mayweather literally always fights on Cinco de Mayo because he know Mexicans want to see him lose. So he's making so much money fighting on Cinco de Mayo or fighting around Mexican holidays because he know people will pay to watch him lose and he'll win.
Mm,
Like, people always pay to watch somebody lose. And I
right.
think they should take advantage of that. If I was in their rooms, I'm like, no, call this girl up, give an NIL deal, tell her what this is about. Same thing with Angel Reese, same thing with everybody. Put everybody on board so we could build up the WNBA somehow, because nobody's watching the games and they losing money. They have to figure
Yeah.
something out. And hopefully they will have this situation slip through their hands. But that would be a good idea, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's some real good PR you just put out there. Yo, like that's they should do it. But
Yeah,
see, that's the thing. It would make it like a real thing. These people don't want to build foundation. Everything goes back to signaling. Like, the WNBA, you're right. They should have did that, because even me, I started paying attention to. I don't pay attention to no I don't know half of these. I don't know none of these girls, right?
yeah,
But even though they took the headline and turned it into something that it did not need to be, but I still paid attention.
right.
You're right. I remember there used to be like a little thing. I even found out later that they were friends, but who was it? Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas or something. I think they
Yeah,
kind of had like they would try to pit them against each other or whatever. Yeah, you have a little, a discussion based around the sport, a real discussion, not a virtue signaling discussion. It would have been cool. You're right. It would have been cool, but yeah, they're gonna mess that up anyway. So just like they
I
always
mean, it's
do.
already messed up because Caitlin Clark already came out and said, like, one, we're not going to the White House, which was crazy. I don't know if you know about Joe Biden inviting the losing team to the White House, or
Yeah, I
suggesting
did know about
that
that.
Joe Biden, yeah, invite the losing team. So Shorty came out and said, we're not going to the White House. It's only for the winners. Shorty came out and said that, I wasn't even paying attention to the girl when she was doing the, I'm gonna call it Tony Yayo because I'm from New York. The Tony
Yeah,
Yayo.
yeah, that's what I was like. That reminds me of something. Yeah.
So she's doing the Tony Yayo. I was like, all right, you doing the Tony Yayo. And I wasn't paying attention to it. She said it's competition. We both competed.
Yeah.
I've been talking ish the whole time. Now she's talking ish. It is what it is. Like, Iowa wasn't even expected to go this far, let alone to go to the championship game.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'll be wearing a tinfoil hat sometimes. I'll be having conspiracy theories.
No, it's okay.
I truly believe that South Carolina, which was the number one team, who got the number one player on their team that's going to be the number one draft pick for the WNBA, how bad they lost. I think it was more of a story to have a black team versus a white team in the national championship, not in the Final Fours. So I think South Carolina, the way they played differently. And it was like kind of falling back, allowing this girl to score. She scored 40 points, beat them. And now, like, all right, let's get a black team to go to the finals, which is a white team. to have some more controversy racially and
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all that happened.
Yeah.
And if you watch the game, the refs was giving the calls to LSU. The coach was all over the court. The coach literally ran into the referee. Like any other time or any other sport, if you touch a ref, that's a tech. She didn't give the coach a tech. She gave Clayton Clark some bullshit tech. I'm sorry for cursing.
No,
Like
sorry.
took the
I'm not,
ball,
I'm
kick off to the side, he gave a technical foul. It was
Yeah.
it was so many different ways for them to win. And not to mention too, LSU is not like a team that was recruited. They all was transfers. All the girls on that team were transfers. So the girl, what's the girl named? Angel Reese is from Maryland. So that's not even her first team. She played for Maryland before she played for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
So she's from Maryland. The other girl who came off the bench and made like 25 points, she's from like, I think Virginia Tech. So like all these girls are from different schools. They're just like, all right, come to the school, we give you a deal. We give you a deal, money. And they all came and won a championship. That's like the first board championship in women's college basketball, in my opinion.
You know, I was hearing something about like a little something like how this team wasn't like that much of a winning team, and then all of a sudden they won, and it ran across my mind because I think a lot of things are rigged, especially now in this day and age. Like it's a shame too because like it's let's make it easier for the black people. So then you have to wonder because you know the game, so you know like it's not supposed to be going this way. It's not. It's obvious to you, so you're not doing a conspiracy. That you just know the truth of what it's supposed to look like, and it's not looking like what it's supposed to look like, but then it's coming up with these results. Now let me say this though, the girl who said and it's a shame because these kids, they get put into these things and they're being used, and it's just a terrible shame. All this, for they're just being used. But the girl, I don't know her name, the black girl though, when I heard she told Jill Biden no.
Angel Reese. That's the one that was doing the Tony Yayo.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, no.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't go. I really hope they don't go because, you're a black woman, and how the chokehold, the cross-faced chicken wing that the Democrat Party got on black women. I hope they don't go just to show a little bit of resistance to the Democratic Party and the nonsense that they keep doing. I hope they don't go.
I hope they don't go too, because that's how I felt when I saw that she said no. I said, "Dag, I'm about to get Shorty like a shirt with Shorty face on it or something," because you never see anybody act like it was just for me. I was like, nobody says no to the Democrat. I was like, these kids are different. I'm like, that's what's up. That's what's up. They're gonna force them to go though. They will force them.
And to piggyback on what you said earlier, saying that she wouldn't do it to the black girl. There's videos out here talking a lot more trash to black girls than she did to Clayton Clark. It's a lot more. Yeah, I mean, I saw one video. I was like, damn, she's on the foul line and telling this girl, you ain't about that life. You ain't about, like, she's staring at her while she's at the free throw line. You could tell this girl's intimidated.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how she is. She's a trash talker.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's part of sports.
Yeah, a little bit, but these new kids, some of these kids, like you see, I keep going back and forth with this girl because she's still a kid, so she has a lot to learn. Hopefully, she does learn it. But these new kids, though, they do take it to another extreme. Not that face thing, but like even you ain't about that life. Like, come on, man, I'm trying to play a game. What about what life? Like, that's not what we used to say. We would say, like, Dad, you can't dribble or something. Like, man, you breaking it up or something. I don't know, but to say,
I didn't say no. I said it wrong. She said you're not about. She said you're not built like that. You're not built. Like that. Yeah.
I know the physical aspect that happened with that too. I know him. As I said, oh, she wouldn't have did it to a black girl. I'm like, trust me, she'd have did it to a black girl faster. Okay, like
the girl, she's not that good. Angel Reese is not that good in basketball.
That's what I heard too. I did hear that.
She's taller, so she get rebounds and throw the ball back up. So like, yeah, she's going to get 10 rebounds and 10 points. So she did get a double, but her skill set is nowhere near Caitlin Clark, nowhere near it. That's why it was funny to me to see that's like somebody like, try to give you a comparison of today's sport. Trying to think of somebody, just an average player, running up to LeBron James going like this.
Yeah.
All right, you on the court, you deserve to be here, but you're not nowhere near LeBron James. You're not nowhere near those type of players, and that's how it is. She was nowhere near her. Like, she's not that good. She's not that good. And when she goes to the WNBA, she's not gonna have a long career. But Caitlin Clark is the next thing for the WNBA, and she could be the one to take it to the next level. if they play their cards right.
Yeah,
Which
but
they
they're not
won't.
gonna let her.
Yeah,
And it's a shame because like what you said, that thing they do on the white people, they don't like they trying to make it like where whites, let's keep it real. They're not letting they're making it easy for everybody else to win but white people. I have to keep it real. This is what equity is. When they say, and this is a segue to the main event of today of everything that happened. When they say equity, when I heard Kamala Harris, you know, promoting equity right before a day before it was time to vote in 2020, and she was talking about equity is when okay, we all have the same resources, but we may not have started from the same spot, and so I gotta shave a little bit from you to get some from you and I'm like, I don't like the way this sounds at all because I know where this goes. I'm like,
yeah,
no, this is not just. I'm like, hey, people work hard for what they work hard for. Yes, them resources were there. That community college is there for everybody. So if you choose not to use it, then that's on you. That trade school, that whatever, it's there
yeah,
for everybody. So don't tell me that I got to give up some of mine because somebody else didn't do what they could have did, no matter what. Oh, but they didn't have the same situations. That's not my problem. Okay. Like, I mean, and that's how it need to be said. So when I heard this equity stuff, I was like, we are going to, and when I heard it, I was like, Donald Trump's not going to win. He's not going to win tomorrow. He's not. I'm going to vote for him, but he's not going to win. And I said, we're going to be destroyed in this country through this equity thing. We're going to be destroyed. And a female can be real petty. As soon as Joe Biden won, I locked and loaded onto the news. And I was like, let me watch every mistake that he makes. And I'm like, and I'm gonna shout it out on Facebook. By February, my gas prices was going up. I said, here we go. I said, why my gas prices going up? Everybody said, COVID. I'm like, no. We're not gonna, we've been opened back up. That's not what it is.
yeah,
He killed the Keystone XL pipeline. I knew because I knew what I knew, I'm backing it up with facts, right? And so here we are. Fast forward 2 years later, our dollar is being threatened, okay, with other countries. Now, the reality of it is that BRIC was a thing that happened before Joe Biden became president, but it was not escalated to this extreme until this administration came in. I'm listening to geopolitical analysts. I'm not just coming up with this on my own. Who
yeah,
are saying the diplomacy, the Biden administration is so focused on Ukraine and they're disrespectful to everybody else that people are like, we're pulling away from America. This is happening. You see the headlines, they pulling
yeah,
away. And we're sitting on the brink of a war with somebody.
yeah,
I'm not even sure if it's going to be China, Russia, a hot war, or I don't know. But we're on the brink on a war with somebody. And so I'll go back to Trump again because I remember when he was president, they kept saying he's going to send us to war with China. I had to hear that for 4 years, and I believed it for 4 years. It never happened. But today, we're right there.
yeah.
So I'm gonna start sharing some stuff from Twitter and kind of reacting to it or
Okay, I'll
whatever.
react to. But before you go into that, I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
do a little shameless plug. Today I did my drop my podcast episodes called like the 4D chess, like 4-dimensional chess
Yeah,
that
you
the
did,
government
right.
is playing with using trans people as a distraction. Because like what's going on right now with the trans and like this whole, I guess, week, like this past week is insane. We never seen nothing like this before. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have an active shooter who does a hate crime. Don't call it a hate crime. Then after that, you have sympathy for the shooter. Then after you have sympathy for the shooter, a day is coming up for the trans community. What is it? Trans
Day
Day
of
of
visibility, but it was
Visibility.
a
Yeah.
vengeance.
So that's been something that's been going on for a couple of years. I didn't know that was a thing, but now
Mm-hmm.
the 31st was the actual official day. Like they made it official. So they got the day of trans of visibility day. Then now you need a distraction because these, I'm saying you can't talk about this trans person doing this. Not to mention you got the flag half on the half pole because of tragedy, but underneath the flag you have the trans flag because the trans person committed the tragedy. You know what I'm saying? Like how it all kind of
Wow, yeah, I gotta watch that. I didn't know they
yeah,
was putting the trans flag underneath the half
the
staff
American
flag.
flag. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so they put it underneath the flag. Then you have all this going on. You have to kind of wipe that story out because you know what's coming on 31st. They played their big joker. I don't know if you play spades. You played the big joker. or you play Uno,
Mhm.
you got to draw four, wild draw four. They played
Mhm.
that card, and that card was let's indict Donald Trump. So once they indicted Donald Trump, now is another news cycle, another news story. The news is no longer talking about the tragedy that happened in Tennessee. The news never talked about the people in Tennessee having basically an insurrection to the Tennessee Capitol. That never really made the news.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like people didn't know about that. I was asking people like, did y'all know about that? People said no, we didn't know about that happening. So they didn't
Yep.
know about that happening. Then you have the insurrection happening, the day of trans visibility happening. They never, I don't know if they ever released a manifesto of
Nope.
and now that's very dangerous. Like you don't know if anybody else is a part of this.
Mhm.
You don't know if this is a lone wolf, like they love saying. So you don't know if that's the problem. You don't know who else was targets. You don't know anything else. All that stuff is now sealed for whatever reason.
Yep.
So it was
Yep.
like that's using the trans community as a distraction to keep people going at war with each other. Because
Right.
in my heart, I don't believe the trans community is really 100% on board with half of the stuff that's going out. I don't think the trans community is on board with these drag shows as a whole. I think it's a minority
Mhm.
because just because you like something don't mean you're attracted to children or that don't mean you want to start bringing children in. You need to understand that this is an adult thing. And I said also, think about this in the past 6 years, what 21 and over entertainment became for children? You can't go if you're a child, you can't go to casino.
Right.
You can't go to NC-17 movies. You
Right.
can't
Right.
go
Right.
to a strip club. You can't smoke cigarettes. You can't go to war. But like the drag shows used to be 21 and over. Now the
Mhm.
drag shows are for kids. We've
Yeah.
never seen that before. There's a lot of unprecedented territory that we're walking into.
Right.
And it's, to me, is a distraction of what's really going on. The American dollar is falling apart. We about to have a civil war.
Mm.
We about to have a world. How do you have a civil war and a world war in the same year? You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna have two wars? You gonna fight each other
Mhm.
and fight
Mhm.
y'all? You know what I'm saying? We'll have that going on. Um, the jobs are just falling apart. They said McDonald's about to fire people.
Mhm.
Everybody eat McDonald's. McDonald's is a global company in every corner. How you
Right.
start firing people at McDonald's?
Right.
Amazon firing people. Um, everybody's firing people. So it's like everybody losing jobs, but we worried about these little minor things such as what the shooting wasn't minor, but it was a distraction for them to keep people at bay and keep people at war until Sunday. And now Sunday, people are mad about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
mad about each other. So like full circle is just it's just a distraction just to keep people distracted. I think Donald Trump being indicted, you know what I'm saying, that's the worst thing they could do.
Right. And I'm glad you said it
Oh,
like
that.
I'm glad you said it like that, right? So here's the thing for me, like everything you just described, and then put me on to some stuff that I didn't even know that they flying the trans flag underneath the thing. Like, this country's been taken over by communists, but my thing is this now. There's so much destruction that I don't even call like the thing with the basketball girls. That's definitely to me is a distraction because it's like it's not that serious. But this trans thing, there's a lot of topics. I don't call it distraction anymore. I don't think anything needs to be mutual, like anything needs to be exclusive. I think that we're just so effed up right now that we have 17 different things going on and we have to multitask. That's what I said before you got on. I was like, we just need to know how to multitask and pay attention to everything because here's the thing about the trans thing, right? All right. That group of people. Now, to keep it real, and I say it on this channel, right? I've worked with those people before and everything. Never had an issue with them. Back in the 90s and 2000s, whatever, you didn't hear all this stuff about. You didn't hear none of this stuff. You didn't even hear half of this stuff. Most of them wanted to just live and pass, if they gotta date somebody or whatever, that's different. They'll tell them. But for the most part, they didn't come to work like I'm trans. It was just like you just knew, like, oh, you because you could tell, but you just you just knew, and then we just worked. But my issue is there's two things though that now makes it where it must be paid attention to because number one, so the government, and when I say the government, I'm talking about the Marxist infiltrates in the government, the communist infiltrates in the government, who I think is there an echo?
No, you good.
Okay.
Well, you
They
good. Aries. I don't know.
are they they need to use a group of people to get power and control. Okay.
Hmm.
So now it's been black people for a long time. Guess what? I just like I was making it very clear. We're done with that. Okay. Just like Che brought it up. His joint. Remember he said when he was talking about what is woke, he said you all that we shall overcome for black folk, it's over. You
Yeah.
overcame already. We done moved on. And we
Hmm.
got a great group of people. They've taken a bunch of people who are already vulnerable, who clearly are not happy with themselves, and told them, well, since you're not happy with yourself, you must be another gender, or you're making a group of people feel so ashamed of who they are that they don't want to be quote oppressors. It's because Che broke it down like that too, and it was good. So they rather be oppressed. And what's the fastest way to call yourself oppressed? Like that you could do in a second, either call yourself gay or say I'm trans. Okay, as silly
Yeah.
as it sounds, right? But because me and you looking like I'm not doing that, right? But you have a lot of people who are broken, okay, and so they do things like that. So now you have this new group of these trans people who but they also then they tell them like they're hunting you, they're hunting you. You
Hmm.
know, you need to. You're fine. You know, you're not delusional. You're not crazy. You're perfectly normal. Society has to bend in order for you to be okay. That's society that has to bend. That's already insane. For me to exist, I need
Yeah.
all of society to go blind and not, you know what I mean, and say that I'm a man right now. That's insanity. You need a
Hmm.
pill. There's actually pills for that. You know what I'm saying? But but then they pump them up like that, right? To get ready to go act the fool. But then they write the legislation to back it up. And
Yeah.
that's where that's so now it becomes it's not minor. When you're writing legislation to say, um, hey, if you like in Vermont, and so that's why I was just showing people the Disaffected podcast, Josh Slocum, who talks about he lives in Vermont, and they're writing legislation to say this is a sanctuary state. If there's a husband, and you know dads and men do not get any type of mercy in the court system, right? So
Right.
now you divorced with this lady and you have a 4-year-old son, and you find out that this woman is putting dresses on your boy, and he comes to you and says, I don't want to wear these dresses, dad. This is a real story too. This did happen. And so now you go to the court, and the court says put the child with the mom full time, because remember these people aren't delusional. So now you have legislation that is backing up Munchausen by proxy, backing up borderline personality disorder, backing up child mutilation. Or and then now the mom too. Let's say they live in Nebraska, and mom is trying to trans the boy, but they have joint custody, and Nebraska didn't isn't backing this up or whatever. She could take that child to Vermont and start the mutilation process, and there's nothing, they can't extradite her from Vermont.
That's
It's,
crazy.
yeah, that's crazy. And then here's the better part is if your child comes to you at 4 and says, Mommy, I'm a boy, and they a girl, all right? But kids say a bunch of stuff. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine how many things I said I was. So they say that to you, and you be like, child, go to bed, right? Okay. But in school, since they already indoctrinating them in the school, then they say to them, "Well, did you tell your mom that you're a boy?" Yeah. Well, what did she say? Is she gonna take you to the doctor? No. This is like freaking discussions, Oh, really? Oh, let me call CPS and let them know that this mother is neglecting this child. Okay.
That's
So now
crazy.
you done bought the war to my living room. This is what I mean when I say I don't care. Dylan Mulvaney is sitting here wearing a dress and acting trifling or whatever and doing whatever. That's
Hmm.
his business, right?
Right.
Even though I'm really not with the live and let live too much, because y'all never let me live. You trying to come in my living room with this now. So now we all have to focus on it. So when I hear like there's certain people on the right who they just so above it, like y'all still focus on this trans thing, y'all still yeah, because we weren't paying attention for so long. Legislation has been written in Philadelphia. I can't tell you. If I go to a mall in Philadelphia and I'm in the bathroom and some big man with a big beard come walking in the bathroom, I can't say that he violated, because he could say, I'm a woman, and that's it. The law is already there to protect him. This was written in 2019. I didn't know that. I didn't
Mhm.
find out until last week. You see what happened when we wasn't paying attention?
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta multitask now. I gotta, I mean, I gotta pay attention to all of it now because what's going on? So and then now to bring it back again to Trump, why this is an issue, what he symbolizes. Okay, I keep telling people this is why. Again, I said, my thumbnail. You see my thumbnail. I was like, I'm
Mhm.
not using no Trump president thumbnail, or whatever. I'm taking it back to the '80s when nobody was, deranged.
Yeah, we
Okay,
love Trump. Yeah.
yeah, like remember we used to have fun. It was like we get that Trump money and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm cashing
I
Trump
was at
checks.
a Knicks game. I sat behind Donald Trump,
You
and
did.
yeah, I sat 2 rows behind Donald Trump.
You see, and remember, and then you're from New York,
Yeah.
so I was telling people, I'm like, Trump was New York. Like, certain things was New York. And Trump
Yeah.
was one of those things, you
Mhm.
know. Yellow cabs was New York back then. Like, just seeing a street full of the yellow cab, my dad was a cab driver, so shout out to my father. Um, but, so those things are stable. So I was like, I'm not using no other pictures but the ones from when everybody was rational. But you have people say, and so now I'm gonna start sharing some stuff on the from the Twitter, these takes on the situation. So everybody already knows as an introduction, Donald Trump was indicted on 34 counts of I still don't know what
34
about it.
counts.
You see what I'm saying? They dropped 34 counts on him for a payment, an NDA that like everybody, like people do these things. And something too that was already taken care of like 6 years ago, before he ran for president the first time, they got to look through all your paperwork, especially a billionaire. They got to look through your stuff, right? And so there was a payment made by his lawyer. The lawyer said Trump didn't know I made that payment. I shut her up, right?
Hmm.
All right, cool. The Federal Elections Committee looked. They were like, all right, cool. Yeah, this ain't nothing to say. All right, we good. We good. All right, cool. 7 years later, you talking about 34 counts of misappropriated funds, and I'm like, they did all this already. So anyway, but I just want that's why they indicted him. Somehow they was able to parse it out to 34 counts of something. And today he surrendered, but he's already going back to Mar-a-Lago, and I think he's making a speech at 8:15. So
Okay.
yeah. Of course, these haters did not give us the mugshot. I'm mad about that because I wanted the mugshot because I was gonna make the merch with the mugshot, and everybody was waiting for the mugshot. No, we're not. We're just not gonna mugshot. I'm like, we can't have nothing, right? But let me start sharing some takes on this, and I'm gonna be putting people on blast. But if they put it on Twitter, they must want everybody to see it. So hold on. Um, I had notifications. I'll be going on. All right. Maybe. I just want to make sure. All right, you good? All right.
I'm here.
I feel like I have a echo, and that's so annoying. Um, all right. Can you hear me?
I hear you. You hear me?
Yeah. This echo is annoying. All right. First I'm gonna put on I'm gonna put this is the DA brag and what he had to say, a little bit of what he had to say.
Returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about. 34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are. We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct.
And so even that right there is it's like you're just like a lot. You're not going to normalize criminal conduct. Meanwhile, New York has what like cashless bail, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, like people getting stabbed up and then like still coming out the next night. You know what I mean? Like that feels pretty normalized. The guy, it's the same story. Yes, Tucker Carlson uses it all the time. But the Dominican guy who owned the bodega, and then they ran up on him, and he had to end somebody to save his own life, and then
Yeah.
Bragg put him in jail. And Rikers, you know. So these communists, that's what I call them. This is the problem with black folk who aren't like paying attention. They will fall for communism simply because white man has been waved in front of them.
Yeah.
And they have to that's that I need you to do that rent free in the head thing for sure. Because this is the only way to get your true freedom, is to take out this godlike figure of white people that you've put in your head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What makes them communists? Well, what makes them communists most? Shout out to Mo for coming through. Here's the thing. Alvin Braggs, he already knows, like, he writes, he's made laws to say, like, okay, cashless bell. So now you fighting for the criminal, right? Who can now run the street, and I don't care what color the criminal is, but at the same time, you can't stab somebody yesterday and then come out and go, you know what I mean, and go get breakfast the next morning. It's not right.
Cheese.
Secondly, huh?
So go get a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, and then go stab somebody again and get out again. But here's the better one. I'm gonna give you even better example. It's always black people who, not, of course, not all, but they always have, if they need the dumb stuff to be said, there's a black person somewhere, give up the guns. That's communistic approach. That is not what our Constitution says. They always have us saying give up the guns because they've equated guns to the NRA white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's already wave white man yeah, gun, white supremacy, racist. Let me fight for giving up guns. like that's not. And look at the Black Panthers. They knew they had the right to have that gun. Like, I need people to, they have to get the knowledge. You knew you had the right to have it. They knew they had the right. So they had them,
Yep.
Of course, then California wrote a bunch of law. And gun control is racist. It is. People want to talk about systemic racism. Now I'm going back to gun control, right? A lot of these laws were written for like the Black Panthers and stuff like that. So it is weird to me when I see a black man say, give up the guns, gun control. I'm like, that is complete. So you're fighting for this, quote, systemic racism that you say that you're fighting against. Okay.
Well, you're not really fighting it. He's just being a face for whatever that, you're just a face. He's
right.
Saying,
but they still fighting for it, because it's like, I did a video on some emotional guy, like, we're gonna take away these guns and we're gonna save the kids. Some black guy, and I'm like, this feels weird how you're saying it. The criminal's still gonna have the gun. Why would you take away guns from law-abiding citizens? Why?
Yeah. And you see it in New York.
Okay. And you see it in Philly. And I always say, it's so ironic. The only people who practice their Second Amendment right the way it should be practiced is the criminal. He just he buys it off the corner. Technically, it's really how you're supposed to be able to get. And people say, well, what about the people with mental health disorders? I talked about this earlier. This anxiety that I'm having on the screen right now could be technically a mental health disorder, right?
Yeah.
You have to be careful with these broad terms. Listen, liberty is liberty, right? And that's what we need to be fighting for. We have a republic that has been established, and everybody's going around it. It's just crazy. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. So this is why this situation for me. So it really bothers me because now, Traditions, do you remember the Russia collusion stuff with the campaign?
Yeah.
And how they beat that over our heads so much. And of course, me, emotional female, was like, oh, Russia was in our campaigns. Oh my God. They used to have me looking like a clown back in the day. Just all the time I'm telling my best friend, like, Deej, this is wrong. Trump had Russia in our campaigns. And then when he fired James Comey, the FBI director who was lying, and I said, oh my God, he fired the guy that was investigating him. He is a bad man. That's why this whole Trump thing, when I finally uncovered a lot of stuff, I was like, y'all never get me again. Okay? Never get me again. All right? But this is I forgot Charlie Hurt. He's gonna explain a little bit about the Russia thing, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about it too, just a little bit for people to understand how not only did they just totally spied on an American citizen simply because he was running a campaign for presidency, but destroyed and fractured our relationship with Russia to the point where we are now fractured with just about everybody else in this world. So hold on. Let me play this here.
Very beginning when you had the police state actually spying on the first Trump campaign in the middle of an election. That to me still remains the greatest overreach in politics that we've ever seen. Talk about trying to steal an election, to influence an election. That's what was going on back in 2016 when you had the federal government. The Obama administration, and this was known at the highest levels of the Obama administration, spying on a political opponent at the height of a presidential campaign. And from there, at every turn, they've gone after Donald Trump with ridiculous, idiotic, stupid things. They've never paid a price for any of these things, for all of the lying, for all of the abuse of power. These Democrats have never paid a price for this. And you ask a great question: when will it end? To me, I hate to say it. I think it only ends when voters, including Democrat voters, wake up and say, enough, we're not doing this anymore. And they start pushing back against this lunacy. You have this lunatic, Alvin Bragg, who's literally stepping over dead bodies in New York in order to pursue a crazy political agenda.
So really quickly, because I'm tight against time.
So, all right, I'm going to just stop it right there real quick. And I'm actually bring it back to, but hold on, before I go there. So the Russia collusion thing, it was started with the Steele dossier. And then they found out later on, Hillary Clinton paid for the Steele dossier. I'm going to get there and I'm going to explain why all of this. That's a shame. Poor guy. So sad. This is when he realized he lost the election. I felt the same way. I was sick to my stomach. I said, "Oh shit!" I was like, "We are done." I'm sorry. You got to laugh a little bit about it or whatever. But yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, "Oh, it's a wrap." But yeah. So this is real quick. The Russia thing. All of a sudden, December 2016, they started with lies, talking about Russia had meddled in our elections. So then you had James Comey going out talking about, we're investigating Donald Trump without any evidence. They just said that they were going to start to investigate that Donald Trump's campaign was working with Russia. Knowing damn well they didn't have any evidence, okay? And they kept telling people, we saw the evidence. You just can't see it yet. You just can't. What is this, right? So in the FBI, there's something called a FISA court. So this is why I like knowing this stuff, right? If you deem somebody to be a threat to the country, you would have to get a warrant, right, to start spying on them, right? But you can't technically, obviously, you can't tell the person, I'm going to get a warrant to spy on you. So there's a FISA court, like a secret court, that the person doesn't even know that they're going to court about you. So now you can't even defend yourself, okay? And then they come with this evidence, and then they get the warrant to start watching you, all right? But the fact is, so when they came out with the FISA court, it was supposed to be like a thing that, like, we know we're being good people and we're not going to use it for corruption. But this is why I don't like too much laws or agencies, and this is why I talk about red flag laws, because somebody's always going to use it for corruption, okay? So they needed evidence that Donald Trump was doing something. I don't know. So they came up with a Steele dossier, some paper saying that his people was in Russia peeing on a girl. Yo, it was the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing, right? And it was all a lie. And it was paid for by the Clinton campaign, who, by the way, just settled out of court about that situation. They literally paid for fake evidence to go spy on Donald Trump and then didn't find anything. Yeah. Then didn't find anything on him. They didn't, because today the Washington Post is writing stories like, yeah, that Russia collusion story. Yeah, it wasn't real. 6-7 years later, okay? And we had to keep hearing Russia collusion. All right. Before the man even stepped into the office, he already was tarnished. Mm-hmm. They didn't find anything. But then his national security advisor, his name was Michael Flynn. And I'm giving the most like brief synopsis of this because it would take too long. Michael Flynn, Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, very smart man, right? Worked under the Obama administration with CIA intelligence, with our security intelligence and stuff like that. So he knew all the dirty secrets that was going on during the Obama administration. There were a lot of dirty secrets going on under Obama, of course. I mean, we know. I mean, Muammar Gaddafi. I mean, what else is there to say? So, and he was saying like, but the Obama administration was like, the American people don't need to know all of what we're doing, right? But Mike Flynn felt like, no, they should know. There's tax dollars paid for. There's our
Wasn't,
defense.
I think it was called the Dark Act, denying Americans rights to know.
I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Denying Americans rights to know. Dark. DARK.
Okay.
That was the acronym. DARK.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the acronym for it, and I think that was under the Obama administration.
Well, you see, wow. And so, Mike, I'm definitely looking at it. I'm make a whole episode about it. Thank you. So, so Mike Flynn, they show you, like, I've seen clips of him on C-SPAN, like, the president isn't doing anything about our issues in the Middle East. Like, there's basically that ISIS is coming back and he's not doing anything about it. And I think he knew the dirty secrets that basically that at the time that administration was like funding a lot of this stuff. And so he was like, he came out and said it. So Obama was like, fire Mike Flynn, right? So then when Trump came, and it all ties in. When Trump came, now he's going to be president. He's president-elect. And they give each other advice. Obama says to him, listen, the first thing you need to know as a president is you don't let anybody tell you who should be in your cabinet. You pick all your own people, okay? All the people that you trust, all right? Okay, but the one person you shouldn't have on your cabinet is Mike Flynn. Well, what's that going to do? It's going to make, I'll be like, oh, okay. I've been about to make him vice president now, like, because why are you telling me I can't have this person? So he put Mike Flynn on as national security advisor, right? Mike Flynn goes, I know, right? It's like, it's a lot. But Mike Flynn, now he's doing his job because Mike Flynn knew all the dirty secrets about the Obama administration. And he was already telling Trump, like, we need to cut off some of these agencies. Okay. Now imagine you traditions, right? You become president. Are you going to really know what to do when you get in there? What to get rid of? What?
No.
Exactly. We're not going to know. We're not politicians. We regular people. Trump just happens to be a billionaire, but he's not a politician.
Yeah.
Mike Flynn being his national security advisor was great because he knew the dirty stuff. So he already was like, yo, man, we cutting back a lot of these think tanks, a lot of these people who are meddling in the way we're supposed to be doing things. Well, a lot of people knew that they were going to lose their positions, their money and all that. I mean, this is like really like, this is movie type business. Like, somebody should make a movie about this stuff, And so they set Mike Flynn up. Mike Flynn was talking to Russia, but he was supposed to. That's what you do. Susan Rice did the same thing for Obama. When you come in and the president-elect talks to, the ambassadors over there and everything, like, hey, all right, the UN and, well, we about America first, business, everything. He's talking to them on federal phones. He knows he's being taped. So it's not that he's not saying anything weird. All of a sudden, they start saying, my computer is really getting on my nerves. All of a sudden, they start saying that he was that Trump's campaign was colluding with Russia through Mike Flynn, oh, he's talking to Russia, even though they know that they're supposed to do that. So that's like how the media be like, they put red sauce on the pizza. Like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But if you don't know that, you know what I mean, right? Yeah. And so everybody's like, oh my God, he was talking to Russia. He was talking to Russia. But everybody literally does that. And he was talking to them on a recorded line. He's not hiding anything. But the media took this whole narrative and then with some dossier, everything starts spying on Trump. Can't find nothing. But all this Russia collusion till finally after Trump is not president. Now people are saying, oh, it was a lie. Even though people knew, like anybody telling the truth knew it was a lie. There's more to it. There's a lot more to it. So you see how somebody walks in stained. You see how now when I figure this out 4 years later, and I'm like, damn, really? What kind of country is this? This is sophisticated Haiti. That's what it is. Yeah. And I know people will probably be like,
And that probably circle back to the Clintons, what they got going on in Haiti.
you see, they get to do whatever. The Clintons, first off, what a name, okay? What a name. But they get to do whatever they want, you know? So yeah, I do feel some type of way that. And then after Russia collusion, then when he was asking questions like, yo, what's Joe Biden and Hunter Biden doing out in Ukraine? Like, what were they doing constantly going to Ukraine and the money and what's going on with this energy business? And because he's seeing the corruption, like you're using the presidency to gain things that you're not supposed to be gaining. They try to impeach him over that. And they try to say that he's told Ukraine, I'm going to hold back aid from you if you don't tell me what's going on. But in fact, Joe Biden is on video saying, if you don't fire the prosecutor that's basically prosecuting my son, but he didn't say that part, but prosecuting this energy company that the son was working at, he told Ukraine, if you don't fire them, I'm going to hold back the aid. And he laughs about it. But Trump gets, an impeachment trial for something that, and then he didn't even say it like that. This is why I go off about this so much, because we have to start paying attention to the fact that like it's because the way the media lied about him so much, and to find out that it's y'all doing all of this, like, and why did he have to leave? Well, under Donald Trump, we were drilling oil at home, inflation. Don't get me wrong. He did, the GDP, I get it. Everybody spends a lot of money, right? But he was also producing at home. So sometimes, maybe he could have counteracted some of that spending. I don't know. I'm not talking about 2020, because everybody brings up, 2020, he crashed the economy. I'm not bringing 2020 into anything, because that's not a normal year. Okay. Yeah. But we was producing at home. He was bringing manufacturing back home. Our borders were more secured. 5 million people done got in here. In 2 years, 5 million people. You know how you pay for that? That's why them eggs are $8 a carton instead of 79 cents like they should be. Yeah. Because it's the inflated dollar. We have to pay for the programs, for the shelters, for people who should not even be here. I don't have a problem with migration. I have a problem with 5 million people walking in illegally. I'm not going to open my door to 500 people. I'm not going to do it. They called him racist when he said we have to secure the border. You see what I'm saying? Y'all not dangling racism in front of me no more. Y'all not doing it no more.
It was a thing I used to say to people, when people used to ask, or people would say, "Oh, you support Donald Trump?" I said, "No, I just hate Joe Biden." And they're like, "But Donald Trump's a racist." I said, "All right, tell me what he said racist about black people. Tell me." And they were like, "But he said it got stuck." I said, "See, you can't give me an example. You're just telling me talking points of what you was told. So I guess the news is telling you he's a racist. You go with that, but you don't have no real talking points." They're like, "Nah, but yeah," it just gets stuck. But my thing is this: I think that Donald Trump is a politician that can't be controlled by the masses, and I think that's why they're coming after him like that. They don't care about Bush. They don't care about who else? Obama. They don't care about Biden. They don't care about Clinton. They're all the same party, all the same boat. But Donald Trump was like kind of a wild card, so to say. He was a wild card, and that's why that's the issue. They're like, all right, this dude gonna do things differently. We all have the same game plan, including DeSantis, in my opinion. They all have the same game plan to keep going on and on and on and keep the same thing kind of going for the uniparty. And Donald Trump was the kind of the wild card that kind of threw everything off. They probably thought that once they get Donald Trump in the office, because he's so cool with the politicians and presidents, they could get him to do the things that other presidents did. It didn't work like that. So since they don't have Donald Trump under control like they really thought they would, now they have to do something to him. The last presidents that we could talk about that was not under control, that got something done to them, was Kennedy and Lincoln. So you see how they dealt with them. You can't deal with Donald Trump like that in 2023.
Yeah.
So you got to hit him with a BS charge. You had sex with a porn star. You didn't pay her the right way type of charge. You can't just shoot him while he's in convertible or shoot him while he's at a theater. You can't do that to Donald Trump in 2023.
Right.
So this is their way of doing it. So he won't become president again. But honestly, I don't think Donald Trump is going to become the Republican nominee. He's not, because they're gonna. It's a uniparty. To me, Democrats and Republicans in that level are the same. On the lower level, people like you and I, regular folks, have our own ideologies. We could go with some things that the Republicans are saying, or go with some things that the Democrats are saying. But at the end of the day, on that high level, they all the same to me. They all a uniparty, all the same. You know, you have Republicans that write these bills say anti-gay, this type of stuff. Next thing you know, you find out they having like sexual affair with gay men. So it's like, you know, they all in the same boat. They all in the same boat. They just know what to say to their political party. But Donald Trump is not in that boat. He can't be controlled, and that's the issue. I think Donald Trump could be the first president to win as a third party if he goes that route. I don't think he should go the route of the Republicans, because they should have had his back during this whole process. And they say the minimum just to be okay, but they say the minimum just to get the votes. That's all they do. Same thing Republicans. They say the minimum to get the votes, but the actions don't match with what it is that they're doing.
Which is why, you're right. You're right. Which is why I feel like we the people have to overhaul these career politicians. That's how I feel about it. That's why, like I said, I tried to run for Senate here. It was a huge overtaking, but I figured, try something. I know what I would do better the next time, and I will try to run for something again when the time presents itself again and the time is right. But it has to be we the people who do it, and that's why it will always be anybody who's going to bring any kind of real change is always going to come across like an extremist, okay? Because we live in a time where the truth is extreme now because everybody's so sensitive, they can't hear the truth, right? And you can't sugarcoat everything. Not everything can be sugarcoated, So I am like here in Pennsylvania, we had the chance to have real change in Pennsylvania and elect Doug Mastriano, right? What is the first thing they did when Doug Mastriano, which I couldn't believe because I didn't even vote for him in the Republican primary. Excuse me. I didn't even vote for him in the Republican primary. I voted for Dave White, another person, because I saw his speech. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with him. I went to a rally and everything. And he had a good plan too. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But Mastriano, who was then in the general election was working with Dave White, which I thought was beautiful because, came up with a brilliant plan for Pennsylvania where we would have been using our resources. There's so much oil under Pennsylvania. He had plans where we would have brought jobs to Philadelphia, the port, oh my God. Real solutions. Anyway, but when Mastriano run the Republican primary, I was excited. I said, oh my God, because Doug Mastriano was at J6, right? So now what do you think the media does? He was at J6. They labeled him with every name: racist, white supremacist, Christian nationalist, misogynist, woman, but the whole thing. So now here I'm talking to people and I'm like, yo, this is who we need to vote for because I'm trying to bring facts. Like, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, but because these Democrats, they know how to use buzz terms. I got people telling me, well, he's a bigot. And I'm like, what did he say? The same thing, like how, he's a bigot. No. You made an opinion on something. Like, that's, first of all, that's dangerous. What? So you just calling people labels and you don't have anything to back that up, So it's the media that already got to you, that gave you no facts, but gave him a label and you went with that. What I will say about the Republican Party, though, their messaging is so lackluster. They need a lot of help with connecting with people. And like a lot of help with that, but they have the better policy. So anyway, which takes me to, again, so that's why I said, and they called him an extremist. But Josh Shapiro believes in mutilating children. He's funded by people who do the whole child mutilation of children. He believes in, killing babies in the womb. I'm not making any opinions. I'm just saying we have to say it the way it is, right? Yeah. So, but that's not extreme. He believes in drag queen story hour and everything else. But the veteran with the solution, he's the extremist. How does that work? People don't want self-accountability, but the messaging has to be better. But you're right. I said all this to say what? Trump was the only one who wasn't like a politician. Like you said, all of them, they working with NATO. And he was the only one who was like, America's getting a raw deal with NATO. Yep. The American tax. Yeah, and they probably was like, yeah, we got to get this guy out of here. because this globalist movement is supposed to happen, and he keeps on talking about America, and we're not trying to hear that. Now, what happens is, hey Sarah, thank you for coming through. What happens is, like, to wrap all this up, right? Let me go back on Twitter. Some of the people who call themselves free thinkers, and God bless them, they are, but sometimes God bless them. I think I'm not trying to make nobody mad, not that they're watching, right? But um this is right here. Anomaly. Democrats said they were going to arrest their opponents and did. Republicans said that they were going to arrest their opponents, then didn't. Told people to stop chanting, lock her up, then sold vaccines for the establishment. That crunch time for America. Truth hurts. It's like we keep going back to the same thing. Here, this is my answer to this, right? Democrats run everything. How it's not that easy to just lock somebody up when you don't have anybody, you don't even know who you can trust, right? That's how I look at it. What you think?
I agree with
I,
well, what's his name? The
anomaly, yeah.
okay, anomaly. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. They put this thing in position. They did what they had to do. They had to pay off the people who had to pay off. You know, I think all the politicians probably do dirt in every state. Like, how many different ways you could arrest the Clintons in different states, but you have somebody who's backing the DA, such as George Soros, to put money in his pockets to do what he need to do. Allegedly, let's say allegedly. Let's not get no flags on your channel. So
I'm not even monetized. I know, right? Because apparently it's anti-Semitic to talk about George Soros now. Whatever.
yeah, so allegedly George
Yeah.
Soros is greasing the pockets of DA Braggs. So if you grease the pockets, it's going to get done. What Republican was doing that to grease the pockets of whoever they need to grease the pockets of for Hillary Clinton with her email? So they got the ball rolling. They got the ball rolling. I guess they said they told people to stop chanting, lock her up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he said it one time at a rally. It wasn't that serious to me. But my thing is,
and also too, and then sold vaccines for the establishment. I mean, Operation Warp Speed was under Donald Trump.
but here's the thing. I love that you brought that up because that's Anomaly's whole shtick. Okay. And I'm annoyed that I keep bringing this guy up, but there's a lot of people who says this, right? You know, shout out to him though. He has a wonderful platform, whatever. Here's the thing. First, back to what you said. George Soros is like a gazillionaire, okay, who's been backing destruction since back in like World War II. This is known that you know, and then he's. I mean, I'm not monetized, right? Oh, this is anti-Semitic. This is a Jewish man who funded the Nazis. There's something called self-hate, and I actually had a Jewish person tell me that there's a lot of Jewish people walking around with self-hate, and we're not allowed to talk about it. This is a Jewish person who said this to me. Okay, so it's something
there's a
called
lot of us
self-hate.
walking around with self-hate. We can't talk about it either.
What'd you say?
It's a lot of black people walking around with self-hate that we can't talk about it either.
Thank you.
The only self-hate that we're allowed to speak about is self-white hate.
But
That's it.
Right.
No,
White man bad.
White men hating themselves. That's it. You can't talk. A white woman can't hate herself. You know, we can't speak about that. But only a white man hating himself. You can speak. A straight white man. I'm sorry, a straight white man hating himself. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's no name for that, right? Like, but you know, but like, come on, because if I'm black and I have to accept the fact that reality is reality, and there is a self-hate for black folk or whoever, there are Jewish people who have self-hate who do cause destruction. Any race can do it. Okay. So if they want to wipe me off for saying that, then I got a backup rumble. I'll put it in the description. Okay. So now, now that we got that, now when it comes to the vaccines, yes, you're right. Warp Speed came out under Donald Trump. Guess what? It would have came out under DeSantis. It would have came out under anybody else. Okay. I don't take vaccines anymore. I don't. Right. And I'm not afraid to say that because I'm a nurse. So there's a lot of nurses who don't take vaccines. I'm gonna just keep it all the way funky with y'all. All right. So because we know what the immune system is, just we know the pathophysiology of what's gonna happen. Anyway, so but I'm also not so irrational that because I don't take them anymore, that I expect everybody else not to take them. We were living in a time, right, No, I remember it. I remember it clear as day. 2020, lockdown, everything was weird. It was weird for me too, because I was like, how's the whole world moving in lockstep? But that was the situation that got me closer, got me back in line with God, because I was like, the prophecies are shown, this is real. Okay.
Yeah.
So so now so people want to go back to being normal. I remember when they said 2 weeks is slow to spread. Now, I was like, I don't think they should do this because this is open up a Pandora's box. And people, Trump shouldn't let it happen. He's listening to, this is how it works, right? He's listening to his medical advisors. And so they say 2 weeks is slow to spread. But people always forget when he was like 2 weeks and that's it. And then he was getting backlash for it. People always forget. I remember this because I wasn't even a Trump supporter back then. I still thought he was racist at that time, right? But I'm looking, I'm like, this guy sounds more rational than anybody. He sounds like me, because he was like, we can't run the economy like this, y'all. We have to open up. And everybody called. I remember DL Hughley. I can't stand DL Hughley
Yeah,
on Instagram. Yeah, like,
I think he follows me too, but I don't like him.
yeah, like I know I still follow him just because, but he's a shill. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, Donald Trump's trying to murder you. I mean, like literally people were running this. So now, all right, what did he do? He said the states can do what they got to do. Because at the end of the day, this is not a dictatorship, right? Okay. Now the people saying we want a vaccine, right? And this is how medical system works. This is triaging. And the president can't get in the way of that. If we have a quote pandemic, we have to now move under EUA, emergency emergency use authorization. That's just simply what it's called, triaging, right? So now we have to get a fast solution. Obviously, I know this was orchestrated, but I'm talking as if it wasn't. Not the whole world doesn't think. Just because I think one way, I'm running a whole country, right?
Yeah.
So you have half of the country that's like, I ain't taking that. Okay. And then you have another half of the country like, please, where's the shot? It's not like vaccines is some sort of foreign thing. We've been taking them, right?
Yeah.
So under EUA, and it was never a lie told. I will say this. Fauci nut behind, can't stand him. But he did say, yeah, we're moving fast. We're not, checking for all the safety stuff. We're just trying to get we're just trying to get he was like, we're just trying to get something out to the people.
Yeah.
They were very transparent with what they were doing. And I was like, I'm not touching it. I knew, I was like, vaccine coming. I was like, I'm not touching that. I was like, I don't care. I'll just get somebody to sign the paper and say that I'm not taking that, right? So I'm giving out all the tapes. I don't even care. So when that happened or whatever, and then now the vaccine, so you're running a country. You're not just running your base. I've seen people say, well, his base didn't want it. What does that mean? He's running a country, and this country's medical industrial complex believes in vaccines. So that's the next step. We did it with the swine flu. This is the step. Now it's your decision if you want to take it or not, right?
So the EUA was under Trump.
Remember, the EUA it had to be done because there was supposedly so many people dying that there's guidelines like the algorithm. If there is a certain amount of people who's dying from this, we have to move into emergency use authorization because we're being wiped out. Remember that, but that's how the algorithm goes. But if the agencies, which is why I'm saying that whoever abolish the CDC, make that the first thing that goes for me. That thing is a mafia. Okay, I can't explain how much. That's a.
Okay, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I'll look it right here. Quick Google search. The EUA is February 4th, 2020.
That was under Donald Trump. Yeah.
So I thought Donald Trump was already out the White House in January.
No, remember the pandemic started in 2020.
So when was Biden elected?
Biden was elected in 2020, but he got up there in 2021. January 20th was the worst day of my life. January 20th, 2021.
No, I'm thinking that.
Hey, Mona.
I'm thinking that no. If I'm not mistaken, I thought Biden got elected 2020, and Trump had the insurrection, whatever, in January 2020 when he had
that. But yeah,
isn't
that was a mosh pit. That's not an insurrection. But yeah, go ahead.
Isn't that right that he was already out of office?
You talking about the mandates?
No, I'm talking about the EUA. The EUA was under Biden. It was under Trump.
It had to be. It was under Trump. That's why we
I'm
had to
looking
do
at it right now. It
it.
said February 4th.
Huh?
It says February 4th, 2020.
2020. Yes.
Yeah.
That's when we went under EUA, emergency use authorization. Now medical facilities have to use whatever they got. Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Okay. Yeah. She said EUA was under Trump. All right. My bad. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I said correct.
Yeah. That's and that was always see, I was already watching the high wire. Trump didn't orchestrate EUA. The numbers would come, and he said, "Man, God, everybody forgets this thing too, right?" I remember because this is when I was like, "Wait, what? How am I agreeing with Donald Trump?" Because the numbers kept coming out. Oh, 1,000 people died in one night, and and all this stuff. And I'm like, I mean, it's bullshit, man. I know these people. Not. I'm sorry, I'm cursing today, guys. I'm like, I know they're not dying. Till I went and I got the paperwork. New York City Department of Health. One night they declared 1,300 people died of COVID. But when you went back, when you looked on that paper, I have an episode about this on my channel, guys. It's all the way somewhere in the bottom. It's called "Keep the Shots Away from Our Kids" or something like that. So go ahead and check it out if you want to get all the information. When they declared 1,300 people died, but when you went and you saw the breakdown, there was like 900 probable people who died, probable people who might have died of COVID. And then it was only 18 people that they had for sure died of COVID. But everything else they were just lumping together, okay? To fudge the numbers so that we could go into an crisis, an emergency crisis. Remember, they were saying that people who had motorcycle accidents died of COVID. Remember that, right? So this was told to doctors that they could do this. Donald Trump says on a because he had some sort of town hall with this annoying woman. It's always a woman who she's saying to him because he was even talking about he was like, well, people could get herd immunity, and she was like, you believe in that quack science of herd immunity? And I'm like, who is this reporter? Herd immunity is a real thing. Who is this person? He was talking about all of this. Then he was like, but some of these numbers aren't even real. Like they're fudging the numbers. Then the headlines came out. Donald Trump accuses doctors of fudging. Oh, how can you say that about doctors? Yes. I was like, what is this parallel universe? This was when I knew. I was like, yo, this place is crazy. I live in a matrix. This is how they lie. Like they were, and he said that with his own mouth. You have a campaign of people saying we want a shot. And you're under a crisis. You give them the medical treatment. Vaccines did not come out. They weren't born under Donald Trump. We still have vaccines. Right? Nobody wants to have the real discussion about vaccines and how we got here. Okay? How the medical industrial and complex is the most sobering, scary thing in my life for me to know what they've done out here. Okay? So, to help the purpose of distribution. Trump issued a statement saying that without administration's help, he was, of course, he was proud. The people wanted it, and of course, he was proud. I knew that shot was coming. I didn't care that the shot came. Right? I didn't care that the shot came. And it came under warp speed. Everybody knew it was coming under warp speed. Everybody was transparent. They knew. I said, I'm not taking that as long as they don't force me to take it. My issue is with the next guy they called the commander in chief, the old man, you know what I'm saying, who came and said, everybody, you mandated to take it. People working at Walmart for a moment was mandated to take. You getting paid $8 an hour. Now you got to take a shot, an experimental shot. That's when my problem came because I'm like, now I got to figure out what I got to do. Believe it right there. But, damn, I can't hear you.
My bad. I had on mute because I was drinking water. My bad.
Yeah.
You would think that it would be the same story under Trump, that it was mandated. Like as far as where Joe Biden took it to. I think it's the same thing because Trump is egotistical.
No, he said
Trump will put his name on the needles for the vaccine because that's how Trump get down. He'll put his name on it, be like, all right.
And that's fine. He will, but we cannot assign characteristics to people who have not given us the evidence of that characteristic. Donald Trump always said it is your choice to take it. He kept saying that. I remember in November now, but right before the election, I said we can't let Biden win because if Biden comes in, he's going to mandate that shot. I'm a nurse telling you, I saw this coming. And then they mandated it. And I remember when I reported on it on Facebook and everybody was coming at me. And that's when I was mad. Mona, yes, what they did to mandate the employees was despicable. It was, because I had to go on the Underground Railroad, and we're gonna call it that, you know. And there were people who, yeah, like, I mean, who were crying like, oh my God, I'm trying to put food on the table. I don't want to take this thing under Joe Biden. Nobody talks about that. They say Donald Trump came out with the shot. Shots have always been here. They're not going away. Don't force me to take it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It was the mandation. That
Well,
shot was coming
I
over
don't
anyway.
have any evidence to prove that, but I think that Trump would have been on the same time. No,
Well,
I think Trump would have been at the same time.
Well, I don't think so, but we can do this what if, right? But
Yeah.
what people fail to do, and that's the same thing. This is why I have an issue with Anomaly with that. You always talk about, oh, he was selling the vaccine. Yeah, he was proud, you know, of something that he did that people lined up for, you know, and everybody knew there would be risk. There's a risk with every shot that you, okay. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're not allowed to talk about it, right? But anyway, but people knew. It's not like they said, and by the way, I don't even want to get into that shot. It's so fucked up. Anyway, people knew though. They knew. Fauci said it's like we're building a car, we're just not testing the brakes. I said, y'all crazy. I'm not taking that. um, and here's the part that's even better. I had nurse colleagues when it was Donald Trump was like, I'm not taking that because he just called the vaccine. Oh, oh boy, it's okay. Play his F up too. No, whatever. Like, leave it alone. I just broke down all that, and he's just still talking about the vaccine L for our boy. No, okay, but what was I about to say? Damn, he took me out of that. Oh man, because I had nurse colleagues when it was Donald Trump, when it was Warp Speed, everything. And so that I was like, "Are you taking that?" No, I ain't taking that. I ain't taking that. And the very minute Joe Biden became president, they stood in line and took it.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's odd." I was like, "What? Yeah, I gotta get my shot." I said, "Yo, man, y'all weird, dog. It's the same shot that you."
It's not like Donald Trump was in the lab making the shot. Then after that, Biden came into the lab and started taking over. Yeah, I know a nurse that said the same thing in North Carolina. She said, "Oh, I'm not taking it, but now that Biden's in office, I feel more comfortable." I'm like,
Isn't
okay.
it absolutely?
Yeah.
This, and these were nurses. This is when I was like, I'm ashamed of this like, I mean,
Can you put that last comment on the screen?
yeah, you're right. I ain't even been showing the comment case. Just called him. Play his F up.
Yeah, right. Take the
Whatever. Whatever. Like, nah, man. Whatever. Yeah, but all right, people F up. You're right. People do. They do F up. But that is not the worst thing, and he didn't mandate it. Okay. Now, when that monkeypox vaccine come out, because that's going to come out. Yeah. But I'm gonna leave it right there.
I'm not gonna give him the monkeypox. I ain't trying to.
Huh?
I thought the monkeypox was only for gay men.
Nah, that's an absolute lie. If you really want to get into it, what people were seeing was a reaction to something else. But okay. So yeah, I'm glad you. Yeah, it's real out here with the medical industrial complex. What did Morgan out like with polio? Their ramifications for the first ones. I mean, it's terrible. It's I don't know, but so that comment though, but for him it's like, oh, he sold vaccines, so that's it. Like, damn, like, so those comments kind of get on my nerves. There's another one though, because I really definitely want to shout him out though, because and he's probably gonna be mad. Not mad, he's not watching. So what am I saying? It is my homie on Twitter, but Barrington be getting on my nerves. Huh?
You don't know who's watching.
He ain't watching. But I mean, he's my whole. He's a homie, but he get on my nerves sometimes. I was like, dang, like why y'all come at people like this? Like, hold on. Stephen A. Smith was talking about something. I think he was talking about the girl. All right, here we go. So it says, just in, Malaysia Prime Minister says there's no reason to continue to depend on the US dollar. And so the embarrassment, your favorite liberal and conservative influencers have you focused on the culture war because clicks increase their bottom line, but the bottom line is the dollar falls and we're all F. I hate when people say stuff like that. Like I really do. Or even like talking about like the whole Trump thing, like where they'll say like, oh y'all, so they got you distracted. Like I can't tell you how much I can't stand because I go back to it again. I'm like, why do we have to just focus on one thing that you pick? We have to multitask. We're going to hell in a handbasket very fast. So, like, it's a lot of ways that we're going to get there. So we have to multitask. That's all. That's why. But I mean,
I think the dollar is pretty important. What's going on?
of course it is. You checked out my catalog. I'm still talking about. I just made something about it yesterday. About the oil. You know. But we wouldn't have been in this position. We wouldn't have. And even going back, and then I'm gonna wrap. This is the part I'm gonna wrap up though about Trump. I'm gonna wrap it up here, right? Like when they said, "Oh, he's working with Russia," because Vladimir Putin was like, "Oh, he was like, Trump is a very brilliant and smart man," you know, like because they told him he run the presidency. He was like, "Oh yeah, he's brilliant and smart." The news reported it like, oh, whoa, Vladimir Putin. See, they know each other. What did he say that was so wrong? Look at Russia and China today. They are working together and they are making fast. Okay.
Yeah.
They are bringing peace to the Middle East. That was supposed to be us because Donald Trump started doing that. Okay. They're bringing peace to the Middle East. They're bringing all the resources. I've never seen anything like it. How fast they're moving. Right. But we had a president who was on that same tip. He wanted to work with these other countries.
Yeah.
Keep the defense, right? Because y'all not going to come over here and disrespect me. So I'm going to have my military base strong. But let's get this paper. Let's get these resources. We're going to drill at home. I'm going to sell to you. Hey, maybe I might have to mess with the markets a little bit. America first. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like America first. Today, we are not even just America last. We are America in the dust. So that's why I'm like, it's all connected. And the last part about the ideology. A lot of people need to, like what you said, white man bad, right? What Donald Trump represents to some of these people in the streets is like the white man. The man is so white. He can't even tan appropriately. Okay. I mean, like he is the white man. Before, him today, when he was running and he was president, he was like a bull. He did whatever he wanted. He said whatever he wanted. He told him, "Don't talk to me. Get out of here." Da, da, da. He didn't apologize for much, right?
Yeah.
And people hate that. And what's going on in the world? Everything goes back to the white man bad. The trans, they tell them, it's the white patriarchy that putting you in this position. Black folk, we already know what they do. Excuse rent free in the head. I can't wait to see the podcast. Okay. Like, so, women, the white patriarchal system, we have to fight it and be single. Everything falls back to that. But what people have to understand, I'm not with that for two reasons. Number one, because when you believe in God, you can't take on any of these ideologies. People are people. Okay. That's number one. Number two, who's gonna be this? Let's say today they come and say, "We're here to take these guns. We're under martial law." Tell me what person you think is gonna be the first one to grab his gun and get ready to go out there and fight.
White people.
Yeah. I didn't even have to say it, right?
Yeah.
So
gangbangers, some blood. They do it already for they block. So
they'll follow behind. I'm not saying they'll be the only people, but they'll be the first one to take up that American flag and say, "My grandfather taught me the red, white, and blue, and I'm going to go." We know that, right? That's why they want to demonize it. They want to demonize it. And they tell them that they're racist for knowing their Constitution. They say that the Constitution is racist. You see what I'm saying? I'm not with it. I already know what y'all trying to do. I need to have a watch party with Uncle Tom too to really make it make sense. I might do that tomorrow. Just put on Uncle Tom too, and then we watch it. But then I'll delete it because that's gonna be copyright for sure. And you'll see the design.
That's what Morgan said in the comments.
What do you say? Which one?
The day that the government says all guns, rednecks and Crips start getting along just fine.
Get along just fine. You're right. He's right. He's right, but it's going. The redneck going to rise up, and then people going to be like, "Hey, where you going? We coming with you." And he's right. So, but if you could shave off some of the army that would come against you, you got to find a way to shave it off.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. It's not going to happen in a week. So when I say that to people, they're like, "What do you mean? That ain't." Yeah, bit by bit. This has been a design, by the way, that's been going on since back in the way back somewhere like in the early 1900s and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
late 1800s. Yeah, there's a whole, you know what I mean? Like it make Uncle
Generation.
Tom too. We're going to do a watch party because people need to see the design is so real. It's sobering. It is. But
I might watch it this week.
nah, man, you're not watching them. Like, every time I tell traditions like Uncle Tom too. He be like, yeah, Case, I'm gonna watch it this.
But yeah, it's only $4. I could just buy the
I'm
show.
not saying that you don't have the $4 or whatever.
No, I mean, I don't know. I'll be doing a lot.
I know.
Yeah, I I'm not watching too much TV.
Nah,
Sports over. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I got
Nah.
I got $5.
I'm
Who
just
made it. What's his name again?
Chado.
Chado. Yeah, I got $5 for Chado.
Yeah.
That's what I could do. I could put this on Apple TV.
And you funny, like I'm just like giving you a hard time because it's like a running joke every time I say like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. But
I seen part 1, I loved it, so I gotta see
Yeah.
part 2. Yeah,
part 2 made my mouth drop like, yo, because you know, you see how you like I'm a populist because you feel like this is just working out too perfectly, this confusion.
yeah.
And then they break it down and you're like, wow. So I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna do a watch party. I am. So anything else? I'm about to end off because I have 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's good enough for me. My throat was already getting dry.
In the water, I got my little water bottle
But
here.
yeah, no, I got some too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
but I'm so happy you came on with me. It's
yeah. And I gotta
fun.
see before I get out. This is my first time coming on. Don't get it. I don't get no invites. You know what I mean? Like
That's
I
not. This isn't. Do you see how Traditions is a liar? This is a Traditions first time coming on. I have the the one where we came on when we found out on the Twitter files that the DOJ has been spying on us for a long time, and I was coming on and I said, "Huh?"
That was your channel or my channel?
That was my channel. It's still on mine. It's still on there. Yeah.
Maybe I got selective memory. It's been a while. It's been too long. How about that?
It has been a while. It has been a while. I will say that. Yeah. So tell the people, you know what I mean, do your outro or whatever you want to do. Say, you know what I
You
mean?
can find me at Broken Traditions. You see it right here on the screen, Broken Traditions. I think if you do a Google search, I might pop up. I think I'm doing that okay with the SEO. Let's see if it pops up, and I don't know yet, but it might pop up. You know what I mean? And you can find me on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I just go on Twitter just to find stuff to talk about. I don't tweet. You can find me on YouTube and Rumble. So those are the platforms that I put content out on.
I'm gonna put your like I said, I'm gonna put your everybody, I'm gonna put Traditions link on the description. Okay. So
Got you.
I will put Traditions link on it. Yeah, like I feel like you should put it. Did you put it on the chat?
Yeah, I do it right now. I got the other window open.
Y'all check out Traditions for real. Like Traditions definitely keeps me like you know, current with what's going on, like with the pop, you know, with the black mainstream culture and everything. And I've been cracking up, like, like your reactions and stuff. You'd be like, like what? Like, just so much anarchy going on. It's funny, but thank you for coming on. Like. Yeah, no sweat. I'm glad we linked up. So everybody who's watching, I hope y'all hit the like button, you know, subscribe if you haven't yet. I had a good time. The chat was huh?
One last thing. Will you be around later on today? Like around I think 9:00 your time?
Yeah. What you going live? What day is it today? Wednesday you going live?
No, tomorrow. Today. I think my boy Kofa going live. I think it'll be a good live for you to be a part of if you have the time.
All right, cool. Yeah.
I'll send you the information in.
All right, bet. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to do a Drew. You know, I was like, I'm a marathon. Drew be like live for like I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't work.
I don't know how Drew do it. Drew's my inspiration.
Yo, I fell asleep, woke up, and he was still talking. I was like, Oh my God. Like that man got stamina. But
Yeah, and it's crazy part, he does Monday, Wednesday, Friday at night, and he does Monday through Friday 9 o'clock in the morning
wow.
for 2 different channels.
He's committed. That's what's up
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, guys, everybody, thank you for coming. The chat was amazing. This was fun. This was a very sobering way to talk about everything. So, I had a good time. So, ending the broadcast. I'll see you guys. Peace out, y'all.
Later.
All right, hold on a second. Man, like,